It is, of course, SaturJay RPG. Oh, yes. Right, so I believe that's ready, We'll get that ready. And now we'll push that button. And away we go! Into the wild blue yonder, around the world of Final Fantasy. It is by Toziko and Orochi. Actually, I don't think it's by Orochi. I think that's tech they're using, isn't it? But I do not know that for certain. It might have been a company, but I think Orochi was the tech and something else was the company.
World of Final Fantasy.
I always like to try and figure out who it is the voice is. I think that one was just Rain, which arguably you should recognise Rain's voice, considering she's one of the protagonists. You hear it often enough whilst playing the game. But some of the others are it's a bit more difficult to track down precisely who it is. Right, what were we doing? Let's have a scroll through my items. Oh yes, we had a very limited volume of sometimes maybe items, which do not please me. And we've also got a mini flan prism, because we were indeed beaten by the mini flans. They gooed all over my dreams. Oh! Hello! Is it Sephiroth you're looking for? Yes. He's going in the number 1 slot. I've got 2 more available, so Balthier is going in the number 2 slot. And then poor old the official one you're supposed to have, not the 2 you're not technically supposed to have. Although, obviously you are supposed to have them, but I think Sephiroth and Balthier were both sort of potentially DLC ones that I've got early because I've got the Maxima edition of this. Whereas the Warrior of Light I earned legitimately inside of the game. The other 2, I think, basically I paid money. Not that it make much difference because it's all just one thing. Back when it was first released, of course, it would have been the base game and then you would have gotten the DLC. Whereas this is the Maxima edition, which basically holds everything within it. But yeah, you got this. So inflict magical water damage. That would probably be quite useful to remember, but I can't guarantee I'm going to. Strength of toppling strength high. That's not bad, but that costs 2 gauges. Whereas Supernova, weirdly, Sephiroth should probably be slightly stronger than our boy Balthier, but apparently he only costs me 1 gauge, which is amazing. Warrior of Light only costs 1. Inflict neutral physical damage, bypasses defense, also bestows defense up to allies. Pretty much the same for Supernova, apart from it boosts strength rather than defense, which is interesting. And then this one, target. And they're both singles, yeah. And then that's probably why it only costs 1 gauge meter, I suppose. This one, however, inflict magical water damage to all, bypassing defense, topple strength high. Topple strength is indifferent to the others, it would seem, but yeah. That's quite nice. We can use our little friends, our champions. And the first one I'll use is probably Sephiroth, in fairness, because it's Sephiroth. I know it's a bit sort of like sad in a way, I suppose, but it is still sort of like, yay, Sephiroth! Yay, I like you, Sephiroth. I'm not supposed to like you, in fairness. He's the fucking bad guy. Although, of course, they did sort of paint him. God, there we go. Good. I was going to say, God damn it, I can't remember the bloody controls. Oh, dear. That one mistake of going after that bloody creature. That one decision to go after... Oh, I know. It won't cost me that much trying this battle, will it? No, it fucking did. Fucking cost me the entire fucking dungeon a second time. But never mind. Strictly speaking, on the plus side, there is... Oh, on the plus side, I've gone the wrong way. No, on the plus side, again, going the wrong way provides a plus side in some fashion. But it is very much like on the plus side, I have got the chance to earn a little bit more experience. Alright, I'm going to double check. Blindness. Shit, that was lucky. Here he is.
Hello there.
Fuck me!
Oh, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Oh wait, no. No. Yeah, it must have. I was wondering whether... It suddenly made me think, does it change the timing because of the delay and stuff? But of course it doesn't. I hear them. Now, granted, there's a delay between when I hear them and when you hear them, but there's not some magical delay that would cause what I'm hearing not to be what you are hearing. So they do line up. It did line up pretty good that time. But like Blue Boosh the other day, you've perhaps got in there sufficiently early where there's not a lot of delay and there's not a lot of lag between the whole system, and therefore you've been able to sort of time it nicely. But yes, the whole dungeon I have to repeat because I made the mistake of trying to do something last week that I was clearly not prepared for, and I got the shit kicked out of me by goo. Unfortunately, poor Rain just got constantly covered in goo by some excited flans. And yeah, it didn't go badly, but it didn't go well, sorry. It went badly. It did not go well. But yes, good evening, Mr. Can't Sleep Must Paint. I don't plan on doing anything other than the standard question. There's a massive difference between my phone and PC. PC, I have to time that at about 2 to 3 seconds. Here on my phone, it's 8 to 9. Now, I've mentioned this in the past, but I've found, weirdly, that I've found that to be the opposite way around. Most people, so I think it's just my imagination perhaps, I don't know, but you know, from general consensus, the Twitch delay on phones is much higher than the Twitch delay on PCs. And yet, for me, it does feel like on some occasions like it's the other way around. Because I've had sort of messages on other people's stream where it's like, I'll type that message. Oh, it's come up straight away. They've reacted straight away. Holy shit. It was like within milliseconds. Whereas on the PC, it's like type, push, sends, responds. And it's all like quite slow and like, oh God, there's a huge delay on it. Yeah, and yet the phone didn't seem to have that, so I don't know. That's confusing to me. And yes, Flangu is the worst, unfortunately. It sticks everywhere. She had to have about a dozen showers. Booyah! I got a dapper bat. Yes, that's what we wanted in our lives. Well, at least that whole system worked. That at least meant the money was worth something. Because the item I used is quite a substantial amount of... It's a very much a substantial amount of cash that I spent on those items. It gladdens me that it was worth something. Despite the amount of cash spent. No trouble at all. And by cash I mean in-game cash, just in case anybody was wondering. I was talking about DLC earlier, so no, it's not real cash. It's gil in the Final Fantasy world. I was going to say I have no reason to think it's anything other than gil in this game as well, because gil is the universal Final Fantasy currency. GIL, as you can see on the screen. Gil. Not sure where the word comes from. Must admit, that'd be an interesting thing to find out, perhaps, but still. This is... I can't... Oh, it's just called Ice Bat. A mirage that lives in cold climates, wields ice magic in addition to its vampiric powers. Did you notice the bat-shaped patch there on its face? It's a bat within a bat. Batception! Don't attempt a home run with this bat, or you might just shatter it. Oh, some of these are so stupid. I feel like they had multiple different writers for some of these descriptions, and they got different memos, or rather they perhaps interpreted different things from the same memo, because every now and again you just get one that seems very, very bland, like, it's this creature, it does this. And then other times you get this, where it's like, did you notice the bat-shaped patch? It's a bat within a bat! It's batception! I've made a reference! And it's really fucking stupid, but still. There you go. When I click on your channel on my phone, it kind of loads up the chat and then the video starts. Ah, on PC the video loads before the rest of the page. That's true, yeah. Yeah, that might have something to do with it, I don't know. But anyway, we now have an ice bat. I don't necessarily specifically want an ice bat, but I mean, I have one now. I'll give like 15 seconds if someone has sort of a particularly fanciful name they wish to name the ice bat. I'm willing to acquiesce to a naming of the bat. However, if there is nothing available, I will probably just pretty much use the default, and I don't have much in the way of plan of using the ice bat. I mean, it's not the worst of creatures. I don't know what it transforms into. Its transfiguration is possibly in a bigger bat. Chili McFlaps. Fair enough. I will at least attempt to get in the phrase Chili McFlaps. However, I fear you can't. Oh no, you can do spaces. Okay, spaces you can do. Other sort of grammar you can't. But I'm not convinced. Ah, no, we've run out of letters. So I'm afraid it's Chili McCuff. But deep down in our heart of hearts, we will always try and remember that it's Chili McFlaps. But unfortunately, he is currently Chili McF. But Chili Flaps? Let's have a look. I think we'll have to drop the space. Oh, no. No, I'm afraid. Chili Flap? Chili Flap is available, but you run out of room for the S, I'm afraid. Do you have a different version, or are you happy with Chili Flap? I think we might have to go with Chili Flap. Especially because, as I say, I'm probably not going to use Chili Flap, so spending a slightly too lengthy a period of time nicknaming a creature I may never actually get round to using. So, Chili Flaps it is, or Chili Flap. He's just a Chili Flap. He only does one flap. He is unable to flap more than once. He cannot put forth multiple flaps. You'll need two now, so you can have two flaps. True. Whee! Oh god, yeah, we got to solve some of these puzzles. Well, having said that, fortuitously... Oh, no, I do need the other way. Fortuitously, we don't have to sort of solve them for the sake of actually sort of finding secrets, because we've already done a lot. Oof. You can never spend too much on the flaps.
Here we go! Yeah, you got this.
Fair. I don't think I've got a penguin. Oh, no. Oh, no. I think I have a penguin. Yeah, I think I've got a penguin. I think I went to the trouble of getting a penguin previously. I can't fully remember. The penguin might be on team, in fairness. But I'm reasonably certain. Can't quite remember. Oh, I think I just called him Pingu. Or at the very least I wanted to call him Pingu. I think if I have one, he was called Pingu. If I do not have one, I'd intended to catch one and call it Pingu. But we shall see. Do I have him on board? No, I don't. Well, that's fine. Anyway, I never quite got round to asking, how are you on this SaturJay afternoon? Are you doing well? And, subsequently, what are you up to on this day? On this day, I see clearly, which is not correct, because, you know, it's actually quite difficult to see clearly, because... Nope, that's not what we wanted. Do I not have a way of... No. No, I don't think I do. No, I don't. How fascinating. Yes. Yes, on this day, I see clearly. That was Edge's theme song for a while, wasn't it? It's Alter Bridge, I think, isn't it? The reason I'm now looking is because I do actually have... Yeah, it was Metalingus, wasn't it? Metalingus by Alter Bridge, I believe that was the song. I have their album to hand. I have a lovely little sort of... well, I say little, it's actually quite large. I'm not referring to my penis. I'm sure you thought that, but that's not what I was. Not what I was doing. I've got a rather lovely sort of wall-mounted CD rack that is a dragon statue thing. So it's basically a statue. Well, it's basically a dragon, but it's got a CD rack in it. It's quite nice. But it's got a load of albums, and Alter Bridge, One Day Remains, happens to be there upon it, because I fell in love with that song based on hearing it as Edge's sort of theme music. Or, you know, stepping out music, I don't know. I imagine you know the exact technical term, and I think I do as well somewhere on the line. I just can't quite think. It's not springing to mind the exact technical term for... I suppose it's just entrance music, isn't it, really? That's the only term. I don't know if maybe behind the scenes, did any of you have a secret term for it?
Opportunity knocks. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the opportunity is, but if it's knocking, fair enough. I mean, they are just tiny knacks. We don't really need them. Use ice attacks. Interesting. A, I don't think I've got any ice attacks on me, but also B, that's slightly unexpected. So no, I don't have an ice attack there, because I've only got Channel Darkness available to me. I don't think we've got any ice attacks on the other side either, because the claw is mostly physical based stuff, and Tama is a little firefox. Not officially a firefox, I'd like to point out. It's just as it's one of those ones where... Oh, we can... Yeah, where is... Oh, there we go, right. So, if you wanted to see the updated user interface we've got access to now, in this mode, you can see... I'm pointing at it on the screen, it's not helpful, but bottom left-hand corner, you've got all those icons. The little circle in the middle that is kind of... got some wings and a little star at the bottom. That's your champions gauge, which means I can now summon a champion if I so chose. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save summoning a champion for later, simply because A, I don't need to summon a champion right now, and B, it'll be a bit more impactful if we wait and, you know, something nasty this way comes. We can summon forth a champion and really lay the pain. Bring the pain on their asses. Entrance music, yeah, I figured that was the term. Or I figured it out eventually. But yes, no, my entire love of Alter Bridge came from Metalingus, and exclusively because I heard it when Edge walked out from the back to the ring. In fairness, a couple of things, because I think... No, I think... Because, of course, the SmackDown theme song, if memory serves, at one point in time, it probably isn't anymore, I'm sure, but at one point in time, the SmackDown theme song was... Can't remember exactly which song it was, but I'm fairly certain it was by Papa Roach. But I think I liked Papa Roach prior to that situation. It feels like maybe I do need to go round, but I swear last time we decided that I didn't actually need to do the full round, but never mind. Maybe there is something just that little bit secret that my brain can't process in this ice puzzle that requires you to enter from above rather than entering from below. I do believe... Oh, yeah, New Mirage. They've just told me it's a New Mirage. But the crucial thing is I think that's a baby Paleberry, which is a variation on the Tonberry. It's an icy Tonberry. I see Tomberries in my future. I'm just going to pummel the baby moth on the other side, because then we can focus on whether we can try and get the little fella. I don't necessarily think we can, but we shall have to wait and see. Right. I think the first best thing to do is Libra, because then that'll get me the information I want on it. That gets me the stack information and then the baby Powberry. So that's physical attacks to create a Prism Tunity. Okay, well, I suppose the first thing we need to do is figure out the best way. I was going to say, don't have... Oh, yeah, I know, because I didn't do that one. Throw, I believe, was the best way to topple something that I've got here. However, it's super inaccurate. But good at toppling, and it did sort of start the toppling process, which is good. Very good indeed. Let's see if I can work out which song, if any, spring to mind while we're waiting for the turn. No. Because equally on this CD rack I do have my Papa Roach albums. There you go, there's some insight into the music I listen to. Because I do have... let's punch that creature. I've got... let's have a look. Fall Out Boy. Used to listen to a lot of Fall Out Boy. I reckon I'd probably enjoy him if I listen to him again. I haven't listened to a Fall Out Boy song in quite a number of years though. Green Day, American Idiot. That's the next stack up. I think I'd still probably listen to Green Day. Alter Bridge. Very much enjoyed Alter Bridge and would definitely still listen to them again. Because I really rather enjoyed... I think my two favourite songs from that album, at the very least. Can't guarantee this would be the same for all their other albums. I don't know. I'm sure, whoops, that's not the button I wanted. Yeah. Well, that killed that thing, which is not unreasonable. Okay. I think we're going to have to plan this out a little bit carefully if we want to capture that thing. And then here's the real controversial one, I imagine. The one that would really make people go, really? What? Fuck off! Because for some reason they've earned immense hatred, and I don't honestly know why, but they have nonetheless earned huge hatred in amongst popular culture, it seems, and that is Nickelback. I've got Nickelback back. I've got 3 of their albums because I actually quite liked Nickelback. I must admit, I haven't listened to one of their songs in quite some time, but it doesn't stop me quite enjoying them. Or at least once upon a time quite enjoying them. I don't know if I would still enjoy them, but I can't help but think I probably would. Because there's been a couple of other sort of ones. I know it's not on this shelf, but I rather loved the Red Hot Chili Peppers back in the day. And I, recently re-listened to a load of Red Hot Chili Pepper songs, and it was like, yep, nope, I still love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they are fantastic. Very enjoyable. But for some reason, I don't know precisely why, but Nickelback seems to have earned such hatred. It's basically become a meme to despise and be disgusted by Nickelback. I'm unsure why, but there you go. And then we go up from... You Love the Back! Haven't listened to newer stuff, but was a die-hard fan at one point. Yeah, I mean, I certainly... I had nothing against them, but the world seems to have decided they were horrendously horrible. But anyway, it's just one of those things, I suppose. And then the next group, My Chemical Romance. I liked them. I still like them. I still quite enjoy. Sometimes if I'm doing some painting and I haven't got a plan, I will just grab the entirety of my music folder on my computer and just go, random, have at it, computer. Give me something that I've clearly liked in the past because it's on my computer. Do what you want to do. I don't mind. Give me something. And every now and again they do sort of throw a My Chemical Romance song my way, and I really rather enjoy those. And then, as alluded to, Papa Roach. I've got Infest, Getting Away with Murder, The Paramore Sessions, Metamorphosis. And one of my favourite ones of theirs is Hollywood Whore. I really like that one. It's very daft. Although I'm sure it probably puts forth a very valid message, but I don't know. I like it because it's a bit over the top and a little bit mad. And then the final pair is the Rasmus. And I don't know if anybody's even heard of the Rasmus, because I don't think they were a huge band, but they sort of... It's one of those ones where I didn't like the Rasmus at first, but they kept playing the bloody song, and it wore me down. It wore me down, and I suddenly realised, fuck, I really like this song now. God damn you for playing it every fucking day, channels. Because most of these are born from years and years ago, when I would pretty much, when bored, I would always go ahead and flick over to the old music channels, the TV music channels, MTV, Scuzz, Krang, MTV2, I think. MTV2, Krang and Scuzz were the three main ones, because they were the ones that, you know, put forth, you know, people like Fall Out Boy, Green Day, Nickelback, My Chemical Romance, all of those. But yeah, they just constantly played In the Shadows, and when In the Shadows was first played to me, I didn't like it. But then it came up again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and it just sort of wore me away. And I finally decided, actually, I quite like it. It's fine. And so I ended up buying both their albums, Dead Letters, or both their albums back then. They've probably had a lot more. We're talking, most of my music tastes are born from many years ago. But nonetheless, it is very much like that one song was played so much, I ended up just going, all right, I give up. I give in. And they'd got huge... Oh, really? Ah. How fascinating. Yeah. I don't know how well they ended up, but yeah, certainly I did rather enjoy a lot of the songs from the second album, Black Roses. I will send you black roses when you're down and no one notices. Knows this or notices? I think it must be knows this. No, it doesn't really... Well, I suppose music doesn't necessarily have to make sentence structures, but... Unless maybe it's just, when you're down and no one knows, I'll send you black roses. A blend of both yours and Sloffington's, I see. Interesting. But yeah, that's certainly one of the shelves. The other shelf I can't actually access easily because it's down beneath the desk, below my legs. Or in between my legs, not below my legs. Because that would be downstairs, and that would, in fairness, it would probably be easier to access something downstairs than something between my legs right this very second, but I don't think that's true. But anyway, the point is I'm kind of locked in at my desk, and therefore reaching down between my legs, A, would be inappropriate for Twitch, and B, is difficult. Because I've got quite fat legs and not a lot of space. But one thing I definitely know is down on the other CD rack is the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Monty Python, the Monty Python songs. Not that it's in the same vein, but nonetheless true. Anyway, we've been on this screen for a while, so I should probably move on. I was just distracted chatting. How dare you! A wielder of light and ice magic, these guys have the same petty grudge as their cousins. They're not berries covered in yoghurt, although it's admittedly hard to unsee once that's in your head. This is a baby paleberry. So, for Final Fantasy fans, the Tonberry would likely strike fear into your soul. And these are an ice and light variant. I don't honestly think they exist outside of this game. But I would be absolutely willing to... You know, my Final Fantasy knowledge is not so great that I can say that with 100% confidence. They are mostly sort of a... You know, I know a bit, but every single detail is a little bit outside of my remit. Do I want to take it with me? Ugh. I'm thinking the answer is no. But I mean, yeah, it's a variation of an iconic monster. But then again, I feel like if I want the iconic monster on my team, then I use, I use the iconic monster, i.e. I use the Tomberry. But it does have ice magic, doesn't it? And I don't... you didn't have ice magic. And one of them did have an ice weakness, didn't it? The White Nax. Alright, go on. Eddie, sorry. If you were interested, that Eddie joined us last week and was named because he's a lizard. And therefore Eddie Lizard. Eddie Lizard. But I'm sorry, Eddie. As much as I love you, you are going to have to sit in the box. The box of shame. But if I am going to use the ice creature, I am going to need to change up my stack. Now, do we want to possibly bring in... no, because I do like that grouping. So I think it's going to have to be in favour of Tama. And then I'm going to have to check your Mirage board in order to make sure you at least have some kind of ice manoeuvre. Where are you little shit? Because if you don't have an ice manoeuvre, it's going to be very awkward. So I'm assuming that medium-sized cube where the hand is, at this point I can actually literally point at it because the cursor's a hand, but I think that's going to be your Paleberry, which is going to be an icy version of your Tomberry. That one, the big fella, however, I am unsure. I cannot recall. Right, Blizzard. Unfortunately, it requires 4 SPs. What a little shit. Now, that's also intriguing, because I suppose there must be a inflict light down. Oh, that's no, I think that might be elemental, rather than just like sort of light versus heavy damage. It's very difficult to tell sometimes. Although I don't know, is that? Yeah, it's weird how it's greyed out there, because that almost makes me think that's neutral, but the damage, therefore the damage is low, as in light damage. But I don't know. They did suggest he uses light and ice magic. And so far we can see Blizzard, which of course is the ice part of that, but then Petty Grudge is darkness. So we there, and then we there, and then we all the way home? Yes, I think we've weed all the way home, good. That's a lot of piss. I suppose it depends on where your home is, I suppose. If you're just outside your house, weeing all the way home doesn't require a lot of piss. However, if you're like 45 minutes down the road, weeing all the way home requires a substantial amount of piss. And I think possibly too much piss to make it a legitimate thing that you could do. Because I think if you piss 45 minutes away from your home, you're unlikely to piss all the way home. You're simply going to piss sort of where you are and then make it home. You would have finished the piss by the time you got home, I would suspect. However, this is something I cannot guarantee. I know not the capabilities of your piss. You may have infinite piss, and therefore you can piss all the way home. Yes, I think Lan is letting us down a little bit now, because he's got a little baby on his head. And I don't even mean that it's a baby Paleberry. I mean it's only level 1, which makes it the baby of the group. Which unfortunately makes him pretty bad. I want to wipe one of these guys out, and then I believe it's Oblivion. And I'm not going to lie, if I can capture one of these guys, they're definitely going on the team. Because, I mean, look at them. How awesome are these guys? And they are called Death Skulls. which thus means they have to be on the team. So let's see. Do we have sometimes inflicts oblivion? I'm just going to double check. Oblivion? Oblivion. It's just Oblivion is a... I mean, I don't recall... And there may be a Final Fantasy somewhere, but traditionally a Final Fantasy does not have something called Oblivion as a status element. Doom, yes, certainly, but not Oblivion. And I think it's basically silence in this. Oblivion makes you forget your maneuvers, which is, i.e., a silence. But it doesn't fully... I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong about it being a version of silence, because I can't quite compute why you'd have it called Oblivion. It's just one of those weird ones where it's like... I understand. Because... Why not just stick with the traditional silence, for starters? And, you know... What about Oblivion suggests you would be silent? I may very well be wrong, so I'm going down a path of irritation that is possibly going to be completely sort of uplifted and removed by the council. But nonetheless, I'm currently partway down that road. An undead mirage that can unleash an entire spell book's worth of magical attacks. Don't mistake it for a trick-or-treater. Thought I'd give you a proper bit of... I think Death Skull... I think Death Skull's a pretty good name. And he is joining the team. Take the Mirage with you. Hell yeah. Sorry, Jacques. I think you might be the one to go, because I'm slightly reluctant to remove Can't Sleep, Must Paint. The pair. I kind of need Righty because it's the only large monster I've got at the moment. Nick's quite good at the moment because it's got fire, but I've not got any real attachment to Nick. Blue Boosh I'm kind of attached to for two reasons, because it's named after Blue Boosh and it's a Chocobo chick, therefore an iconic monster. Mel I feel like I should be more attached to, but I don't really understand where Mel comes from. If it is a reference of some kind, or if it's something else entirely and I just don't understand, I have no idea. Which, you know, disinclines me from keeping the little fella. But for now it is quite a strong monster anyway, so not so bad. But I think Mel's one on the chopping block. Mel, Nick, and possibly Baby Paleberry, they're all on the sort of chopping block in the future, I think, because... As I say, they're not awesome looking. They're not like truly, oh my god, these are spectacular looking creatures. Nor are they sort of iconic monsters. And to a certain extent, I am slightly more inclined to go after iconic monsters rather than... Oh, I think I'm going around in a circle there. Let's try going around a slightly different path. No, I think I just got locked in that circle again. Oh no, this is slightly different. No, not exactly what I wanted. Oh, okay, not exactly what I was after. Which side do we think we're after? Yeah, I think I concluded I couldn't make it to the other side, but that doesn't mean I can't make it to the other. I can't make it to the left side. I should always remember the fact that there are no directions. All that. Ah, fuckity bums. Okay. Interesting. My sort of statement that you can't make it to the left-hand side might be slightly mistaken. I'm not sure how I would do it, but unless maybe is it that? No. What do I need? The only way to do it, I'm trying to calculate precisely how to win, basically. I'd need to be on that marker, but there's no way I can get to that marker. Is there? I don't think so. I'm still wondering if maybe this is a sort of... It feels like it could be a move on and you'll be coming back later sort of scenario. Because I just can't... I can't see how you sort of stop yourself on the appropriate block. I have, however, found the exit point that side. But Hmm. I could just leave, but it's now bugging me because there's a new portion. Which actually, yeah, okay, hang on. We figured it out! Oh, bollocks. Smash. I don't think I've got a smash, have I? Buff mirages with muscles to spare. Yeah, no, I don't have a smash on board. I'm so hoping Jacques didn't have smash. If Jacques had smash, I'm gonna be quite annoyed. But there you go. Let's have a look at my mirage boards. Only 1 point's not going to do much for me. 3 points, I might as well have a look, but he's not going to have smash, I don't think. And hypnosis costs 4 points anyway, so I can't do anything with that. Mel, I can't imagine you have smash. But see, this is kind of the reason why I'm inclined to keep Mel, because he's got a hell of a grid. But then there's no transfigurations for Mel, so it's like, you've got no real progression in you. You stay as Mel, and a bit like when I play Pokemon, it's kind of, I like the progression element to it as well. So when a Pokemon sort of finishes off its meters, or finishes off its evolutions rather, at that point I sort of end up going, you know what, I'm alright not keeping you in the squad anymore. I'm going to move on and find a new exciting person where I can discover new and exciting things with this guy. So I do struggle with some of these things. Just scrolling through, see if I can spot smash, because if anything's likely to have smash, it was going to be the big hand, but unfortunately, no. No, not for you. We'll take subdue, because it gets me further down the line of doings and stuff. You know how SP have 8? It's because it skipped about 4 levels, I think, which is quite nice. It's got the support of strolling. It's worthwhile upping your stats. Strategic AP hike. Restores AP upon exploiting an enemy's elemental weakness. That's quite nice. I think Petty Grudge feels like it's the iconic manoeuvre, and therefore let's go for the iconic manoeuvre. It's also going to be a bastard for anything that hits me, so it's always nice. We'll get rid of that early doors. Opens it up for later. It basically means you can catch a second baby moth if you so chose. It's not hugely necessary to have more than one, really. Restore HP. I can't actually access that at the moment, that's fine. Zapped. Do you have anything for me, Mr. Zappy? Mr. Zappy, friend. Interesting, I can unlock another Mirage board, but I am inclined to finish off all of these spaces before I start transfiguring. Tama. Did we start with Tama? I feel like we did start with Tama. No, probably started with Can't Sleep, in fairness. So yeah, Must Paint might have something new available. No, all quite expensive stuff. That's gonna require a lot more investment in their levels. But yeah, annoyingly, I went to all that effort to figure out how the fuck to get here, and I don't have a smashy monster. But in fairness, I don't think I've got... Casting my mind back to the creatures I have access to, I don't think I've even got one that would smash. Certainly not without a level investment. I'm just going to see what we can sort of do in terms of... Can we find their abilities here? Submenu. What is the submenu? View abilities. Is that something we can do? Okay, interesting. Not technically what I was wanting, but so. But Jock is probably the most likely one to have it, so let's have a look at his abilities here. Do you have Smash? Okay, so as a copper gnome, he does not have Smash. I realise it looks like he might have Smash, considering it says double Smash, but that doesn't count. It's the ability Smash, which you can see in the middle column, second one from the bottom. However, that is not, I don't think, what the Copper Nollum... I was thinking of Gollum. Yeah, I was thinking of Copper Gollum, whilst also reading Copper Gnome, so it became a Copper Nollum. So if you ever find yourself with a Gnome Gollum, you now know that the appropriate term is Nollum. But yeah, that's not a Copper Golem. That's its alternate evolution, its transfiguration. And getting its transfiguration would require a large volume of time. And there's Pingu! Told you I had one called Pingu, didn't I? Cockatrice, didn't actually name that one. Rocky, Chili Flap, Wendy, Ezio, and Jacques. All just chilling in the case, because I don't really want them. Do-do. It's almost unfortunate that I see the phrase before the old...
Fuck me!
Hello there.
Oh, you couldn't do it. Timing was off there. But yes. General Pingu. General Pingu. Meep, meep, meep. I think it's Meep Meep, isn't it? Or I don't know, that sounded more like Roadrunner the way I did it, but I'm fairly certain Pingu was sort of just noise, wasn't he?
I won't hold back.
Right.
I'm being attacked by an army of Pingus. General Pingu was irritated by my lack of faith, and as such, he sent an army of Pingus my way. I don't want firing the sincerity cannon. Fire! Oh look, there's emotes on this one. That keeps happening. Keeps happening. Whenever someone does something on this overlay, I suddenly go, oh look, I've done different things on it. Oh look, I don't remember that. I suppose arguably it's almost pleasant being this level of inept, because when you are this level of inept, you do things in the past, and then in the present you suddenly go, I like that. Well done, past me. You did a good. But yeah, there's sort of random emotes popping around. Can't remember exactly what those emotes were, because I think a lot of the emotes I chose originally actually disappeared from their system. I'm not sure precisely what happened. I'm assuming they got sort of told they weren't allowed to use those emotes or something. I don't know. Or the emotes were taken away. I've no real clue whatsoever. But nonetheless, it's not quite as many emotes as it once was. And I suppose arguably I really need to update it. Because I think I built this before I had my own emotes. And so theoretically I think I can plug my own emotes into that system, which would allow it to be my emotes. Now whether I did that in the past or not, I don't know, but nonetheless.
Now, go for it.
That's not 100% the point. We've slightly come off the topic, because of course the topic is a chocolate bar full of nuts and nougat. No, the key thing, of course, is you've subscribed for 6 months. So I thank you very much. That's quite something to have managed it to 6 months is quite a long time. And quite something to have achieved. But yes, thank you very much for that. It's very nice. I do appreciate subscriptions. They are marvellous to behold. And, you know, if you do it on a Saturday, you get a fancy showering of emotes. So that's something to remember. Although having said that, I suppose you're not technically... I mean, technically I think you can wait until Saturdays each time. But it's not... It's date-based, isn't it, rather than anything else. Are you... Yes! Good lads. They collapsed into a crumpled heap on the floor. Now, are you another right claw? Let us find out. Yes, you are another right claw, so I don't need to give a shit about you, sir. Probably the easiest target is the bat, although I must admit, yeah, it would have been better to have used her attack on one of the stronger ones, because At this point in time, Lan is a little bit weaker owing to the fact that he's got the little paleberry on his head. And the paleberry needs to catch up in terms of levels. Ooh, it's a right claw. Anyway, welcome, Mr. Bluebush. We'll get back onto track with that. Welcome to SaturJay RPG, where we're currently doing World of Final Fantasy. No, I had not forgotten the title of the game. How dare you suggest it? We're doing the World of Final Fantasy, and we are still imprisoning poor, defenceless creatures for my own nefarious purposes. In fact, we have got a couple of new contenders. So let's... abilities might be the easiest way to find them. We've still got Can't Sleep, Must Paint. We've still got the ugly fox Tama. We've still got Zapped. Death Kupo. Baby Behemoth. Death Skull. That's the new one, and I think he's awesome looking. And then we've got Mel, Nick. We've still got Blue Bush. Blue Bush is still hanging around with us. We've got Righty, the big claw. And we've got the baby Paleberry, who has a petty grudge against all things. Let's double check if we've got all our stuff on the shortcuts. Yeah, 4 maneuvers, 4 things. 3 maneuvers, 3 things. 2 maneuvers, 2 things. 3 maneuvers, 3 things. 1 maneuver, 1 thing. 2 maneuvers, 1, 2, 1. No maneuvers, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. Marvellous. A 2-2. Have you ever got a 2-2? No, I did not get a 2-2. Are you referencing a university score or a tiny sort of skirt that they use in ballet? I haven't got either one of those. And yes, stream soon! Stream dead. I've mentioned this in the past, but your sort of dialogue tends to remind me of it slightly. And I don't think you two were present when I discussed this in the past, but I might be mistaken. I have, however, mentioned frequently Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. And the reason I've mentioned it frequently is because I absolutely fucking love that game. It is a fantastic game. I have played it a couple of times here. I can't remember if who's seen it and who's not seen it. But it is a fantastic sort of big action, over-the-top nonsense game where you basically... It's Dynasty Wars is the more known variation of this gameplay, where basically you have a heroic character, and then you have a large volume of insignificant troops going up against you, and you mow through them with ease and fancy special maneuvers. It is absolutely brilliant fun. But the crucial element with this is there was an anime, I believe. I mean, that's not... I know there was an anime. I own the anime. But the crucial thing is I believe this scene that I'm thinking of comes from the anime. But I can't remember. I think it's Yukimura is the Red Scorpion, I think he's called, or something. He wields... This is what I love about Sengoku Basara. Everything is so over the top and impractical. So my favourite character, we'll just discuss this briefly because I've mentioned him before. My favourite character, Masamune Unedite, he wields 6 katanas. Not always at the same time, but he can do, because he whips them out as 3 on each hand as dragon claws. So he slices through things like a massive fuck-off version of Wolverine. Think of Wolverine's little baby claws and then scale them up to proper katanas. That's Masamune Unedite. He is fucking awesome. But you can get from that description that the game is somewhat over the top. Let's use a blizzard, because then we can hopefully imprison this little knack. This little white knack. It will go nicely with my black knack. And then hopefully we can get a blackjack and a whitejack. But only because I want to play cards. Anyway, continuing the story of Sengoku Basara, Yukimura, he wields 2 spears. often tridents, but I think they're considered. It's considered that he wields 2 spears because they vary the spears dependent on what you equip. But nonetheless, he wields 2 spears, and he's called Yukimura, and I think it's something like the Red Scorpion, I think is his nickname. But anyway, he also is... now, if you know your Japanese feudal history, you might know this character, because it's based on the real, in quotes, mythos of the feudal Japan. So, it's a weird thing. I think it's real. It's real, but not real. He's Galactus now. Interesting. Who's Oh, I'm afraid I must go and consume. I take it you're referring to the fact that Galactus consumes planets. Well, let's hope Can't Sleep doesn't consume planets, because that could make it awkward being on the current planet. Unless you're protecting Earth, perhaps. You'll just pop off and feed on Uranus. Did you have to go there? I did not. It was a last-minute choice, truth be told. I was just gonna say he goes off and feeds on another planet, but then it just came and went. You gotta say Uranus, haven't you? You gotta suggest he goes and feeds on Uranus. But yeah. Anyway, hopefully he doesn't consume the Earth. That's the crucial thing. Anyway, back to the tale of Sengoku Basara. There's a scene in the anime where I think basically, I can't remember exactly why, but they got into some kind of argument, and I'm fairly certain it's a punch out, because in fictional Japan, possibly in real Japan as well, but certainly in fictional Japan, all arguments, whether you're the best of friends or the worst of enemies, or the worst of enemies destined to become the best of friends, all situations must be resolved with punching in Japan. It happens in the Yakuza games, it happens in Dragon Ball Z, it happens everywhere. Every single time there's a conflict, it has to be... There's no words in Japan, it is just violence. They always have a punch-up. But nonetheless, you've got Yukimura punches the sort of feudal lord he's serving under, and just goes, "My lord!" And then the lord punches back and goes, "Yukimura!" And then, Yukimura punches back, "My lord! Yukimura!" And by the end of them sort of punching each other for a lot of time, shouting, "Yukimura, my lord! Yukimura, my lord! Yukimura, my lord!" They come to an arrangement, I think, and it progresses. But it's a very daft little scene, and I don't know. It's just the whole "Stream Dad, Stream Son, Stream Dad, Stream Son" just made me think of it. I'll have to try and find the clip, see if I can find that clip as something. I'll try and pop it in the Discord if I can find the clip of it, but if I can, maybe I'll change it and have it be "Stream Dad, Stream Son, Stream Dad, Stream Son," just for amusement's sake. Anyway, this be the White Knack, a wolf-like mirage with sharp fangs and thick fur to protect against the cold. You could say that it has a knack for hunting, but please don't say that. It's embarrassing if you say that. So you sometimes you do start understanding why I like some of these games, don't you? and perhaps what makes me when you see some of the jokes in these games, because it is a little bit sort of like, wow, that's exactly the sort of joke you go for, isn't it? That ridiculous pun-based nonsense. Okay, hang on. Was that... feels like it's significant, but I'm not convinced because there's no... okay, I've just put myself in a battle. My treasure box sense is tingling, and I don't know. I'm not convinced because there's no clue whatsoever. Usually if there's something there, you can at least see a little bit. Easy to miss, but if you're actually dedicating your vision to viewing it, it's nice and interesting. But I couldn't see anything there. But seeing the name Galactus, are we reckoning he might pop up on MCP? I'd be fascinated to know how they would do him if he ever does. Because for the most part, I mean, I kind of feel like he'd own, because they haven't done the Silver Surfer yet, have they? I obviously Can't Sleep, I think, is now gone, but Mr. Boosh, I think you might be slightly more op. I think both of you are. I think Can't Sleep's gone, so it doesn't technically count. But I think the pair of you are slightly more up to date with knowledge of all of the sort of released characters in MCP. But Silver Surfer's not been out yet, has he? I mean, at least he seems like he might be a fairly easy paint job, because he's just silver. He's just silver, isn't he? Which might be quite nice. Although I imagine you could still do a wondrous job, of course, if you do non-metallic metal. You could probably make it far more complicated than it needs to be. But for me, it's probably Stormhost. If I ever got a Silver Surfer, wouldn't necessarily be planning to, but if I ever did, I would possibly consider. Oh, level 28? No, I don't think so. Not interested in that, because it will kick the shit out of me. No fun. No. So you can tell which fandom I belong to more, because my immediate response to that acronym was no Final Fantasy IV or Surfer. But yes, Fantastic Four. Although having said that, of course, you've technically got one too many fours in that acronym there, because what you've done there is they're the Fantastic 4-4. The Fantastic 4-4-4-4-4-4-4. The Fantastic 4-4s. But yeah, one too many Fs or one too many fours. One of the two. Saronia Harbour. But yeah, I must admit, I'd probably keep it simple and just go Stormhost Silver.
Welcome to Saronia. Thank you for
I might. I'd consider trying to be slightly fancy, in the sense that I'd do Stormhost Silver, then I'd do perhaps a sort of wash to drag that down a little bit, and then do some more Stormhost Silver as some kind of highlight pass. That might work quite well. And then probably a load of white, maybe? Just to really pop a highlight with some dry brushing. But nonetheless, I think it would be quite interesting to see them. But I do wonder if... I don't know. Is there a Fantastic Four anniversary cropping up in the not-too-distant future, or...
I'm sorry.
Maybe, I suppose there might be a licensing issue still.
Why are you apologizing to a cat?
But it is still sort of... It's intriguing that they haven't turned up, because it feels like they've used a lot more obscure characters already and not done Fantastic Four, who are an obvious sell. I don't know. Do you know further details as to why they haven't? Or is it just, you know, they haven't, I don't know why. Which would be a fair response. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if they could do Galactus as one of the licensing. Usually is. It would be interesting to see if they could do something with Galactus, because he's a big chunky boy, and I don't know. I suppose my knowledge of comic books is fairly limited to a certain extent. It's not so bad, but it's not, you know, it's not up there with, you know, definitively knowing all of the things. But from my understanding, Galactus is basically larger than a planet, hence why he's able to eat planets, and I don't think they've ever done him as a sort of, oh, he's used his powers to shrink himself down to match up to the people. I think he's always just been a big chunky boy. And I don't know, they may have faced him head on, but usually they have to sort of work out alternatives, don't they? Alternative things. Usually it's the Silver Surfer being protective and getting rid of him, but I can't remember. Nonetheless, it would be interesting to see if they could figure out something like that, where maybe he probably wouldn't be able to be a standard playable character. He'd have to be exclusively a set piece to go against, perhaps, but they could possibly do like a large model of his head or something, head and shoulders. I mean, that'd be a fucking large model still, but you know, his head and shoulders sort of be there, Galactus' hand would be the board. That would probably work to some degree, yeah. They could do something like that, but yeah, they could do sort of like a space board with his head and shoulders just at the edge of the board going, I am Galactus. And then you have to do set things to actually accomplish anything against him in the fight or something. And as I say, it would probably have to be a story fight. Exclusively sort of story-based fighting, perhaps. Find your architect spark. Now you too finally have a chance of winning the job that has been at the top of everyone's list for 15 years running. This book will provide all the answers and help you climb the ladder to success. Crank up that civic rank. You can't make the secret source of architect stardom without the right kitchen. So make sure you live in a Federation town. Your goal is to improve a metric known as your civic rank. Good citizens work hard for the Federation, either by operating facilities, keeping towns in order, or bringing new people under the Federation's wing. The more you do for the Federation, the more the Federation can do for you, so crank up that civic rank. The Cathedral, your magic moment. Citizens who attain a high enough civic rank are invited to the nearest cathedral, where they will be formally initiated into the Bahamutian army as architects. Don't get too used to the cathedral, though, because you get to live in much posher accommodations. A castle! A life of prosperity and security can be yours, and all you have to do is give the Federation's cause a little push. Kiss those waddies goodbye. For true glory seekers. Is a life of bliss as an architect not enough for you? Then strap in, Ms. or Mr. Ambition, because your ride to the top is not over. Rack up enough achievements in the Bahamutian army and you will be promoted to an even higher station. You might even end up shoulder to shoulder with the Heralds. You go get it, you. The Federation is your ticket to supreme happiness. Nonsense propaganda. How dare you. I cannot stand you and your nonsense. That is an incredibly tall, furry ram. And that man has a barrel on his head. Ask me why that man has a barrel on his head. I do not know why that man has a barrel on his head. I suppose it's for ease of transportation. In fairness, she has a pot on her head. So everybody has something on their head in this game. Anyway, the next question I had for you, Mr. Blue Boosh, of course, would be... what is going under the brush next? Will it be Storm? I think is still outstanding. Is Storm available? And possibly desirable to do next? Or have you been swayed by receiving Dormammu into perhaps being persuaded to build Dormammu? Because he looks like a chunky boy. He looks like a big fella. And he's got all his fancy extras as well. If you chose to put in his fancy extras, it's one of those ones where I think if you just want to play him as a normal character, you don't need the fancy extras. However, if you want to play the story-based sort of scenario, that's the word I'm after. I knew it began with an S, and I couldn't get my brain off of story. The scenario-based version, I believe you need his props and doodahs. Because I did a little while back I think when Dormammu was first released, potentially. I did catch one of AMG's sort of little bits and bobs where they described and discussed the ideas, or it wasn't a discussion, it was an actual playthrough of the mode. And so it was Galactus, not Galactus, I've got Galactus on the brain now. It was Dormammu, and then Dormammu was sort of supposed to be mind controlling a couple of people. This is interesting, there doesn't appear to be much remaining to do here. And I think this is the exit, but I'm not entirely convinced. Oh no, that's Shantytown. Okay, that's where we're all going. But yeah, it was sort of, you had to, if memory serves, you had to sort of try and get a bunch of...
I know. How can it be so different
a
from
bunch of sort of stones or tokens of some kind over to portals to shut down the portals. And as you start shutting down the portals, Dormammu's power starts waning, I think, and... Well, actually, I think his power gets bigger as you do more to win the game. I think he did sort of get more abilities and stuff, but...
You know, from the sound of it, they must have joined up with the Federation pretty recently.
I think now I'm starting to see what Princess Sarah meant.
Well, for now, why don't we see if we can go talk to that Thane guy about the League of S?
I'm probably wasting my breath, but try to watch what you say around here.
Sure.
Looks like the Thane's manor is at the very tippity the top of the town. Let's move Iffy out.
You're a fox, not a cow. You don't need to put that many O's in the word move. Nobody does at all. Let's go have a word with that Saronian Thane guy. Okay. Is this the correct path? Oh, evidently yes, because our little friend is here.
I said for you to scram, kid.
Will you just listen to what I have to say?
I mean, I think they're not
that
going to listen.
Refia?
Hello, Raphael.
You caught up.
I mean, in fairness, I came up here first before you, but you know, the game didn't really count that, but still.
I'm not allowed to talk to my own flesh and blood now?
Not when your uncle's probably been manipulated into giving his town over to the Federation.
Well, you see, sir, we are here to meet the Thane on behalf of Princess Sarah of Cornelia. Have a look for yourselves.
It's a good-looking scroll. I mean, that's a real traditional.
I expected
Although
better from you.
I'm not sure. I suppose maybe it might have been the flap of the end of the scroll, but it looked like the texture was a little bit off on that.
Cornelia's got giants for emissaries?
Not a huge issue, but you know,
They got
sometimes.
some kind of Royal Cornelia thing with
I
them.
suppose it's my
Sure? Beats me.
it's my sort of
Packing and take the risk.
having attempted to do a lot of 3D
I'll
graphics.
go check with this Thane ship.
I'm slightly more in tune with things that don't quite look right because I'm used to things not quite looking right.
Let's go, Refia.
Huh?
But I kind of like the spears because they sort of look
That's right. She
doable
just anteceded us.
for me. I mean, obviously they're doable. They've been done. They're right there.
You're always
But sometimes I do judge some of these things on could I replicate that spear?
More or less the same direction.
And on this occasion, it feels like yes, I could. Might be a little bit awkward, but fairly doable. But then again, I suppose the shaft of the spear is a fucking cylinder, and that's all you need. And when you only need a cylinder, it is quite easy.
Oh, yes. We're here to...
I hear the Federation finally gave up and just invaded them. Are you telling me the invasion failed? Are you here to ask for my help?
Yes, they did try to invade, but for the moment...
Who are you?
Oh,
Why, Refia, is that you?
Who are you?
My dear, please.
I was gonna say it's your
It's
uncle.
me, your uncle.
No. You are not Uncle Taka.
Wait, sorry, what?
Then I was right. If you've managed to see through this facade, then there's no mistake. You are a medium. Yes, I was wise to make sure you left town, and to ensure that you never returned.
Where's Uncle
Well,
Taka?
Your ability to
Standing
ensure
right
things
in
is
front of you.
clearly
Make
shit.
no mistake, little girl. This is your uncle.
What are you?
How intriguing. This must be an act of fate. The giants from the hills here, and with them a champion's medium. And
Got
not
more
just
than one
any
champion's medium.
One that bleeds the same blood as this body.
Oh,
It's more than fate.
here we go.
It has to be destiny.
Glowy red eyes and a dark mist. Not usually a good
Answer
sign.
that, he's the one who put up the threshold here.
Right, well, I think this might be a good opportunity to use my champion's medal and summon forth the one and only
is he a barbarian
glorious
soldier?
master of
Well, he's not like the ones
everything.
we fought so far. Be careful.
I'm bigging him up a little bit too much. Plus, what's quite beneficial doing him right at the beginning, of course, is it gives me extra strength for the entire fight. Well, not the entire fight. I mean, the strength buff will probably wear off, like any other buff. But nonetheless, it gives it to me early doors for quite a reasonable length of time, I'm sure. But also, we get to watch Sephiroth. And Sephiroth is good. Sephiroth is awesome. Sephiroth is in his little chibi mode. Actually, I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to be in little chibi mode, but come forth. I summon you, the one, the only, the master of disaster. Final Fantasy VII's very own one-winged angel, Sephiroth. Supernova. I love the fact that they put in the it might be the theme One-Winged Angel. I cannot remember exactly what they're called for all of them, but every single motion. I mean, it's very good. I know some people wouldn't necessarily know Final Fantasy games, but it is nonetheless one of those ones where he's in his little chibi, his cute little chibi form, and yet also exactly the right motions, exactly the right camera angles and stuff, and it just it so works. But I think we could either do it again, but I think actually what might be quite nice is to have defense boost as well by summoning forth the Warrior of Light, since we had two summons available to me. Well, that depends on the summon, truth be told. Some summons require 1, 2. There may even be ones that require 3, but now it's the Warrior of Light. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, bow, bow. Yeah! As I say, I really love the music as well. The music change is quite nice. It just... everything about this really just pokes the nostalgia bone. And you can interpret that however you fancy. Holy shit, he just fucking unstacked me like it was nothing. That's alarming. I need to work out a solution, else I may be dead. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, alright. I found the shortcut for doing champions. It's up. I was popping it in the classic mode every other time, but I don't necessarily need to. Although it doesn't take that long, so it's not a huge issue. But shut up. Who are you going to be inclined to cure? Yeah, makes a degree of sense. It's going to be quite good. It depends on who he attacks, really, and what he does, because that one oh, okay, well that's semi-predictable. Let's get Libra on him so I know of anywhere he has no weaknesses. Okay, that's fine. It's not great news, but it'll have to do. I think it's time for you to stack. Unfortunately, we do only have a 2 stack because our little Paleberry is dead. And if I revive, interestingly enough, if you were unaware, and I'm fairly certain this is correct, however, I would be willing to be proven wrong. If I revive the Paleberry now, he won't immediately join the stack. They will remain separated. I would have to possibly... I don't know whether I could just allow him to sort of jump up onto the stack, or whether I'd have to fully unstack and then stack again. I'm unclear as to the nature of this. Oh, actually, he had no weaknesses, nor did he have any strengths. So Channel Darkness will just be a souped-up attack, I think, basically. So it's worth doing. Even if it doesn't do a weakness, it's still... Oh, Tower Breaker. Okay, there we go. That's the big issue, isn't it? There, that's the big issue. The big issue. I bought this shoe from Biggie Smalls. It is my Biggie shoe, and I'm quite proud of it. Of course, without the Paleberry, I am down statistically, which is not great news. But I might end up losing one of the others as well, which is a nuisance. Oh, Bravery, probably attack boost, yeah? Yeah, Brave is a standard, a relatively standard status buff. A Boofski. Do you not have... no, you don't, because I got rid of the little fella, didn't you? Bollocks, oh well. I can't even do that anymore. Oh, God. I'm losing the ability to do a lot of my things. Because unfortunately, a lot of my things are reliant on... They were reliant on having Tummer, unfortunately. Now I've replaced him with the Pale Tomberry. Or the Paleberry, sorry. The baby Paleberry is his official name. What can you do? Probably channel the darkness once more. Although having said that, she's the only one who can heal us at the moment. Without items. Items is technically always an option, but not one I like, so... You know my thoughts on item use. You don't do it. Tower Breaker again. Oh, okay, that's not And he's not got a huge amount of health left, although 871's not bad. So I think we're going to have to revive those guys, which is a bit of a nuisance. But luckily, usually Phoenix Downs are single characters. But I think based on the way this battle system works, they do have you. They allow it to be multi-use. So it basically revives everybody on the field who is down, which is quite useful when I think we might go for a high potion on the big stack here. Well, they're both called little stacks, in fairness. Well, no. If I'm in chibi form, they're called little stacks. If I'm in giant form, they're called big stacks, I believe. Let's just double check that. Is that true? Yeah. Big stack because Rain is in big giant form. Little stack because Lan. God damn it. Lan is in his other form. Channel the Darkness, please. I believe in a thing. Oh, we were mentioning music earlier, and of course, one of the things I also really enjoyed back in the day was The Darkness. I absolutely thoroughly loved The Darkness. I do have their first album. Whether they did more albums, a lot of the time, even if they're not in the public eye, they're still playing their music and building songs and making music and stuff. But yes, I did always quite enjoy The Darkness. It really growing on me. That was one of their songs. Not a perfect rendition, I'm not going to lie. But the most known one, of course, was I Believe in a Thing Called Love. But oh, fuck me, sir. Must you have done something quite so harsh? I'm feeling like it's weird, because I could almost accept... I don't like it. I could almost accept Lan's stack dying fairly easily. But Rain has actually got a couple of fairly decent units that are reasonably high level. So the idea that she's going down instantaneously is alarming and makes me think maybe I haven't leveled up enough. But then again, I did a dungeon twice, so you'd think I was probably a high enough level. But nonetheless, I suppose it's probably because at some point I am more than likely. It will pain me to do so, but I fear it will have to be done. I may end up having to remove Can't Sleep and Must Paint, because they are some of the early monsters, and I don't know. They do technically level up with you, but some of the other monsters start statistically superior.
Why are you stuck?
But we shall see.
Show me more. Does fate bind us? Has destiny aligned us? Show me.
I mean, I'd do something, though. Oh, nice. It's got beam cannon.
What? Why are you?
Ah. Sedgy Wardies.
You are a fool to so much as inquire. An imbecile beyond belief to let a medium to champion a fire.
Okay.
That's not good.
Away from death, away from life they stay. Contain them or you'll...
Quick, this way!
Huh? Isn't that the same?
That cat talked to me.
Well, are you guys coming or not?
That cat appears to be using magic. Oh! That's Fang's staff! Bit too excited over that, but I don't know. I'm assuming that other spear on the other side. In fact, all of these spears are probably recognisable. I'll hold my hands up and say I don't recognise all of them, but I recognised Fang's because it's got that weird sort of wavy head. But yeah, that's nice. That's nice to have even more reference. I mean, it's got references to Final Fantasy games riddled throughout it, but it's nice to spot them. It's very. I suppose that's why they put Easter eggs in it, isn't it? Because then sad little fuckers like me go, oh look, I spotted a thing.
I just knew you would get yourselves in trouble.
Oh, we've met you before, haven't we? Yeah.
What do you call that creepy trick?
You were the creepy one here. Unbelievable. Would you just put these on, then take another look at the town?
What the honk?
Huh?
It's a big chain.
Is that coming out of the sky?
Let them me.
If we,
I wanna have the turn.
if we pull that chain,
Revia,
do we think
you should
the
have
world's
a look
toilet will
too.
flush?
How do you explain this?
Don't expect any help from me on that one. After all, not even the visitor who left those monocles at my inn could tell me exactly what it's showing us or how. From what I was told, every member state in the Federation is trussed up like this. So, I thought I'd bring the lenses here, but maybe I didn't have to. The Thane was visibly crazy. What in Grimoire is going on? Okay, guess we'll file that one under no one knows.
So what do we do? We came here to ask about the League of S, but all we found was a lot more questions.
Sorry, did you say the League of S?
That's right.
I mean, your name begins with Charlotta. No. Sorry, that sentence came out wrong. I jumped the gun on the sentence. Your name is Charlotta. That begins with an S. Oh, you're part of the League of S.
I know a few people right
Although having said that, it might just be the League of Saronia. However, I think I was looking through the cards the other day, the little Steam cards that you unlock on some of these games, and I did spot reference to who the S in League of S stands for. So I kind of know, I think. I won't spoil it for anybody watching, but it is a known Final Fantasy character, put it that way.
Cats get around.
Huh?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. So, the real question is, what are you two planning to bite off next?
We've still got a lot to puzzle over. But now that the League of S thing is settled, I think we'd better resume our quest to find mirages.
Yeah,
Plus, we've got that castle. And Mom to track down along the way, too.
sounds pretty good to me.
From here, the best place to go next would have to be the low seas.
Oh, can't I go to the high seas?
You basically
They're much more
have
fun.
no choice but to find a boat down at the docks.
I guess this is the last town on the continent. Okay, then. We'll figure something out.
So what about you two?
Are you coming back to the Solace, Refia? The wolves have been taken care of now, so the only thing to fight off is the cold.
Sure. I need some time to digest this business with Uncle Taka. The Solace sounds great. If you'll have me.
I mean, theoretically, you should probably go off and try and find Uncle Tucker. Although, it's difficult to know precisely what they were suggesting,
Hey, Charlotta.
because he seemed to suggest he was inside the body of Uncle Tucker, which kind of suggests that Uncle Tucker's probably dead, because he kind of just burst from Tucker's body.
Oh,
But,
so that really was you.
I don't know.
Gosh, I was kind of hoping you'd forget.
Obtain the magic monocle! And Refia's champion medal has been unlocked. You can purchase it from the girl who forgot her name. Save your progress? Why not? If you're offering me a save, then I want to say yes. Right, so yeah, let's carry on searching. I think what we might do is, while we know we don't need it, I think we'll change out the Powbury for something else. Precisely what? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. We could get Blue Bush back in business. Death Kupo, he's probably going to be quite good. Zapped is almost guaranteed to be quite good. Tama is unfortunately quite good. Blue Bush has already got a presence in some fashion on Rain's Head. So the Kupo, as ugly and horrendously designed as Tama is, it's actually quite good as a statistical creature. Which is slightly irksome, because, you know, it's fucking ugly. A lens that reveals what would otherwise be invisible. And then we also have the Old Journalist's Notes number 2. Pirate Connections. The rumours were true. The Wild Rose Rebel had indeed visited Sarunia. A local fisherman told me that a man wearing a flashy bandana had asked to charter his boat, claiming he had business in Algathir. The fisherman refused his request, telling him to go ask pirates for a ride, to which the man apparently answered, "Where can I find some pirates?" The fisherman, initially annoyed by the man's surly behaviour, could not help but be impressed by his bravado. That was my newsreader voice, if that was not obvious. I don't think it was obvious. Now, that's intriguing. How does one get... Oh, I think actually I know how to get that. It's giant form. That's where they're quite interesting in terms of the design of some of these places, because like traditionally you'd want to be sort of getting in front of the treasure chest, but this one, it's simply the difference between being tiny and being giant. And it's quite nice the fact that they did include an element of that in the map design. I rather appreciate that sort of thing. It's nice to see it there. Right, I think we've got some Mirage board stuff. And yes, this was the other thing I wanted to do, which was the Occult Fan issue 2, which does rather suggest I've missed issue number 1 somewhere. But it's difficult to know for certain whether you would have them in exact numerical order. They don't necessarily always do that. Sometimes they do, but not always. Today we'll be looking at the so-called treasure ship whose phantom-like appearances have been causing bedlam in the port town of Saronia. Occult Fan has obtained exclusive info revealing the ship is decked out in jewels. And speaking of decks, this galleon's gangways are said to be overflowing with treasure. Well, there was only one way to find out if this fairy tale was full of fairy fare, and so we shoved off in search of the truth. But here was the funny thing. A local fisherman claimed no one had ever seen the ship out in the water. Then where was it seen? We asked incisively. Well, here's the scoop. Whenever the treasure ship needs repairs or improvements, it docks at a dungeon-like harbour. Everyone who has seen it has reported hearing chimes. Some have tried forcing an encounter by ringing a series of bells, but to this the ship does not respond. After thanking the fisherman for his revelatory contribution, we decided to get our quatchos in a row. What had we learned? First, there was a clear connection between the chimes and the ship's appearance, but random bell ringing wasn't cutting it. Speaking of cutting, that was when my travelling companion Wedge cut in. Oh, now that's interesting then. Is this supposed to be Biggs of Biggs and Wedge? Which Star Wars fans, of course, would recognise as pilots. Final Fantasy fans would recognise as comical guards that appear in almost every Final Fantasy, because I believe basically the first bloke who created Final Fantasy was a fan of Star Wars and decided, you know what, I'm going to include Biggs and Wedge in my game. And that's why repeatedly over the course of Final Fantasy's history, there is almost always, not guaranteed, but there is often, I will go often, there is often a Biggs and a Wedge in the games. Usually they are slightly comical guards, however not a guarantee. Maybe you have to bring them in the right order. Great goblins, what if he was right? That would explain why the ship hadn't come. No one knew the right order. If the person chiming the ship home lives somewhere in Saronia, then it is possible the port town is hiding some kind of vital clue. We resumed our investigation with new vigour. Reporting by Biggs. There we go. I should have, instead of going backwards to see if there was evidence, I should have gone forwards. But yes, there you go. So the Occult Fan journalists are Biggs and Wedge. Which is nice. Because it's weird. Because, of course, this is probably, in this game, the fact that they've got Biggs and Wedge is referencing, I think, the fact that Final Fantasy games has a Biggs and Wedge. But, of course, the original referencing of Final Fantasy was Biggs and Wedge from Star Wars. So it's kind of a reference that's gone to become a reference. It's a bit of a unique little situation, I suppose. They're referencing themselves, which referenced
Chapter
something
8,
else.
Buccaneer Blues.
Buccaneer Blues! It reminds me of a line from Monkey Island. I can't remember which Monkey Island. I think it's not the third one. It's either the fourth or the fifth one.
Well, then why don't we
Depending
try
on which one those
asking
are.
around
I
town?
think it's probably the
And see if
fourth one.
anyone's renting them out.
But there was a fantastic line in that. I can never get it correct because I can never remember the exact dialogue, but it's something along the lines of why don't we grab a very long coffee name and then just from Star Buccaneers. And I thought that was such a clever twist on Starbucks. It's beautiful. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody else make that sort of gag, but Monkey Island managed to do it, and it was really very good. Cool, real pirate ship. Nice. Let's go meet some pirates.
Seas? That's completely insane. I can't lend you a boat, but I'm rooting for you.
Well, rooting for me doesn't really get me to the seas, does it?
What's that? You want me to lend you my boat? But if If I did that, I wouldn't be able to go fishing.
Oh, God forbid. What I need you to do ideally, though, mate, is get the fuck out the way, is more the point.
At this rate, we might as well swim to the low
Well, they said there was a
seas.
pirate ship in the dock.
Well,
If that prick will just get the fuck out the way, I can get to the dock.
Every boat they've got to make ends meet.
I mean, it's ridiculous. We're asking around the main town. There you go.
Ship was parked at the pier?
Yeah,
If Lan
something
can
like
figure
that.
that out, fuck
Why?
me.
What's your point?
I've got an idea. What if we beat up all the pirates and then Commodore their ship?
What? There's no way it'll be that easy.
A, it's not
Well,
Commodore.
We don't have to go in with mirages blazing. We might just be able to sneak off with
Commandeer.
it.
Commandeer, that's the
They're
word.
pirates, right? Who's gonna file a
But
complaint?
also, we could just ask to borrow the ship.
It's definitely risky, but if we
As,
just
as
get
a
arrested
first,
here,
as a
the rest of
first
it's not
action, we
Uncle,
could just
or
pop
that
over there and go,
freak in the
"Hello,
creepy
do you mind
mask
us
might
renting
come
your
along
ship?"
really
And then if they
rain
turn
our
on you, you can kick the
Lesser
shit out
of
of
two
them.
evils it is. Docs, here we come.
Yes, I think if we were to Commodore a ship, we'd need 2 fleets of ships, because I think Commodore is sort of... Oh, that was a treasure chest. Fuck. That was... Very nearly missed that. I wasn't really looking at the surroundings. I was more looking at the interaction button popping up, which sometimes, you know, is more useful. Mummy collapsed on her way out of the door when she went to work. We called the doctor, who said it was just a cold. Mummy laughed it off, but she looked like she was suffering, not to mention she was running a high fever. I'm happy when Mummy stays home with us, but not if it means she has to be sick. Get well soon, Mummy, and then we can play. That was the Diary of a Little Girl. Although it says here, presumably written by a little girl. They don't know for a fact. And that was the 11th of Adamant's, Mithril 6. What were the other ones? Lezolith, Mithril 5. And then that one's Vusakrom, Mithril 5. So we've gone through at least what one would assume is what's classified as a year here. Which is apparently a mithril. I don't know that for certain. I'm assuming elements.
Not exactly the most cheerful of the place.
Yeah, and it looks like mirages are roaming around too.
These docks need to get docked a few points. Let's watch our step.
I don't need to watch my step. Nothing bad can happen to us. We're the protagonists. Right, save that. Marvellous. Is that back to the town? Yeah, surrounding harbour, that's fine. So we want to... Oh, I think we shoot ourselves in a cannon.
What have we got?
A cannon? What's it doing here?
Hello, I've eaten a planet.
It's a perfect.
There we go, we needed Nat to be with us again. Well, I still think Tama might be able to take care of that.
What just happened?
Despite not... Although, no, it's a different move, isn't it?
Naturally,
But
this must be how the locals get around.
Did they work?
Uh-huh. Naturally.
Because I'm willing to accept I may have been distracted slightly, but I'm not 100% certain the hello there came up, did it? Don't know. You might be better suited to know that for certain, but let's just try. I'll try activating it myself, see if that's... Oh no, there we go. Certainly for me it worked.
Hello there.
Dang it. I forgot there was an extra step, so I'm miles away. I thought they overlapped. Okay, that's alright then. It's just, I don't know why, but they sort of... Yeah. It was one of those odd ones where it just didn't register in the But yeah, theoretically, I of course have the advantage of seeing it sort of play out in real time and not having a delay when I click the buttons. But unfortunately, what I'd forgotten is the fact that you actually have to confirm that you want to play the thing, so it was a little bit off. But good, you You got a bonus hello there and a bonus fuck me, because I wasn't convinced it had worked, so that's fine. It's all good. Anyway, let's check through some of these abilities. I mean, I would say theoretically they were supposed to unlock. They were supposed to have sort of done something, but they've not got a lot of SP from it. Death Skull's got a nice chunk of SP, but welcome back. Was the planet tasty? And which planet did you decide upon? Blizzard. I don't think we've got any more points spare. Or rather, there's no abilities that my points will be spent on. Be able to be spent on, I suppose. Raises agility. Yeah, that'll do nicely. And then over to Zap, who's only got 2 points, which again, 2 points is not likely to get me very far. And granted, I could do the Transfiguration, although having said that, that requires 15. This one, yeah, I need something extra, bonus for that. It's not a problem. Oh, that's only 1 point. Christ almighty. They don't want me progressing very far. What did you have for your dinner, out of interest? You don't actually have to answer that question if you don't want to, but I figured I'd ask it anyway. What was dinner today? Or was it... I'm assuming... I was going to ask, was it something tasty? But one assumes it was something tasty. You're probably doing dinner wrong if it's not something tasty. That you've chosen, I suppose. But then again, you never know. Something might have gone horribly wrong. But possibly don't specify. Depends. Did you? If you cooked it, you can state that it went horribly wrong. If Sloffington cooked it, probably best not to. But it was a bit of a failure. Oh dear. I don't know if that's leading into a joke or whether that was a sincere. It was a bit of a failure, and therefore, oh dear, what happened? But yeah, no, that's unfortunate. I've got a Yo Sushi Teriyaki tray bake sauce thing. Ah. Okay, I suppose takeout can sometimes go wrong. Well, I must admit, it doesn't often go wrong for me because I tend to stick to the same things. Although sometimes I do take a bit of a chance. Like the other day, I mean, this isn't really a chance, but for me, it's a bit of a chance, I suppose. It's a fucking mimic, isn't it?
Hey,
absolutely fuck you. Yes, it is a mimic. A bit of a unique looking mimic as well. But it's got like little ribbons. There you go, this is sort of bloody Angela and her living ribbons. The chicken was, I don't know, had a weird flavour. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, it's a home cooking thing. Oh, fair enough. I didn't know. I thought, are you... Is Yo Sushi just sort of a company that you buy from shops, or is it a restaurant as well? I thought it was a restaurant, but I might be thinking of something else. Reduce the HP, reduce its HP. That's it. That's all I have to do, which is relatively simplistic. Easier said than done, of course. But there you go. We shall see. I don't know what the exact threshold's going to be, but still. What, and I didn't sort of acknowledge it, but I will now. What is the general figuring for your dinner, Mr. Bluebush? What are you leaning towards, I suppose, is more the question. Is there a plan? Is there a sort of stuff in the fridge? Possibly freezer? Possibly cupboard? I'm not going to rule any of the places you can keep food out at this early stage. Or is it likely takeout time? It's takeout time! There you go, I'm doing you an advert. Sponsored by General Takeout. It's takeout time! That's what the General says in the advert. You just get this completely decorated war hero come out and go, "Hello, good evening. I am General Takeaway. It's takeaway time!" And then he leaves. How are we doing health-wise? Alarming. One more strike and hopefully... Hey! There's the threshold. You put the powder in some water, then you mix it up, but then you put the chicken in a tray, pour the sauce, let it cook, and it's done. Chicken tasted off. That's not good. That's not great. That's not great. It's not really what you want. Especially in chicken. Chicken's a particularly bad one for being off. Arguably, most things are particularly bad when off, but
No trouble at all.
chicken slightly more so, I think. A lot of other meats you can sort of get away with it a bit more, I think. Chicken's particularly bad. But yes, that's not great news. Didn't soak into the chicken at all. I suppose maybe it would have been worthwhile. I imagine they didn't specify this in the instructions, but sometimes it's worth making it up as you go along and ignoring the instructions. But it's one of those things where it could have been worth perhaps letting it sit and baste or something, but I don't know. I'm not an expert at cookery. But anyway, that's a shame. That's a shame. It's nice to have nice food. And yes, Mr. Blueboosh, did you have any inkling as to what your dinner's going to be? Again, you don't actually have to answer. It's just I don't know whether you heard the question. Is often the way. Add to insult. Left a spare piece of chicken in the sauce. Put the oven on low just to see what would happen if I left it on longer while I ate. I then proceeded to turn the oven off like a twat. It was just a tray of chicken thighs. I see. But, yeah. It's always fascinating how muscle memory can trump even the most sort of firm thoughts in your brain. Because that happens frequently to me. Like, I think, okay, must not do this. And then the muscle memory just goes, oh, you're doing that? Well, you have to do the whole procedure then, don't you? Not sure, you might burn some beef. I see. Is that as in you're going to overcook your steak, or you're going to do like some other form of beef? Because there is numerous variants of beef. And I assume you don't plan on just getting a blowtorch and heading down to the local farm. So that you're properly sort of just, yo, cow, it's time to burn the beef. I imagine a cow would make a far greater noise if you were to try and burn it. But I don't know the sound of a cow in pain. Probably beneficial, really. See, this is the interesting part. As I have dyspraxia, I shouldn't have any muscle memory. I see. Interesting. So I must be manually stupid. Fair enough. Fair enough. A mirage disguised as a treasure chest to surprise unwary treasure hunters. There's no escaping one in battle. The poor thing has developed serious identity issues. But hey, that's the job. Also, let's make it official. This mimic has no relation to that other famous mimic in our game lineup. I see. I don't know precisely what they mean. I mean, there is probably going to be a mimic in Final Fantasy history, and I suppose it doesn't actually look like that. So I'm assuming that's what they're suggesting there. But yeah, I mean, I can't really rename a mimic, can I? It's a mimic. It's a treasure chesting mimic. I'm not that inclined to take a mimic with me. I mean, it was a lovely surprise game. Oh, lovely. But it's kind of like, I think I might use manually stupid painting. I see. Have you any biscuits? Have you any biscuits? Biscuits, chicken and a biscuit, biscuit, chicken and a biscuit. Oh, how many biscuits you gonna put in your chicken, 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 chicken and a biscuit, chicken, chicken, chicken and a biscuit. And if you do it in some other fashion, it would be chicken, chicken, chicken and a brisket. I can't remember what a brisket is though. I think a brisket is sort of a piece of meat, isn't it? I think it's a cut rather than a thing, but I might be wrong. So water resistance. Do I actually have any water resistance whatsoever? Surely someone... Oh, there we go. You have water resistance. Or you have water weakness. One of the two. I think that's water resistance. So that's water resistance confirmed. Now I just need the weight of 3. So how weighty is must paint? I'd say must paint appears to be quite weighty. Activate? I think we've switched. Yeah, I know. That's why I was trying to push the Y button. If you hadn't come in with a suggestion that I could press the Y button, I was going to push the Y button. But there we go. Zapped must paint. That's a brand new company that's rivaling yours. Brisket is a big beef cut. There you go. I thought so. I just lost confidence in my memory. as is so often the way. I wonder if I can stick any other animals in a savoury cracker. I imagine you can stick any animal you fancy in a savoury cracker. Ideally, they're going to be sort of dead and prepared appropriately, but, you know. 22.5 stone, but I don't see why you need to know. I needed to know how much you weighed on the for the Switch. The button required a weighty push, or a weighty. Yeah, I suppose technically it's pushing down. I've not been compared to a cracker. Crackers, hey crackers, have you been compared to a cracker? I wonder how many biscuits I weigh. Now see, I don't know whether either of you watched Taskmaster, but that's very much the Alex Horn method of measuring things. He's forever creating odd little measurements. It's quite amusing. I probably weigh more than the Switch. That's true. Most people probably weigh more than a Switch, in fairness, because a Switch is a fairly light console because it's a handheld. A shark wall! I hate the name, but I love the design. It's a weird sort of jet shark. Anyway, it's fire attacks. Okay, that's actually not too bad. Physical attacks, that, again, is not too bad. And I do already have a mini Flan prison. So what we really need to do is try and get them dislodged. So I think we need to throw and punch. Throw a couple of punches his way. Of course, missing is not helpful. Missing is in fact the opposite of helpful. Don't you know? Well, you do know now. Indeed, punchings. I think punching is still my most useful in terms of stuff. I'm considering being super sinful and putting the Christmas tree up. There will be an intervention if you do. Because, no. No. You are allowed to put the Christmas tree up in December. And that is the earliest. Outside of that, you are not allowed. You're going to do it. Okay. Then I feel obliged to do something about that. Yeah? And I don't think you'll enjoy me doing something about that. Now, theoretically, the Flan will just die. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's not quite what I was wanting, but it's fine. There'll be plenty more Flans in the sea, I'm sure. But what I think I'm going to have to do is cure the shark wall. I weigh about 8,218 McVitie's chocolate biscuits, apparently. Wow. Put the tree up. One in each room. No! No trees. Although, the pair of you, of course, once December hits, to a certain extent, it's the benefit of not having a camera, of course, because when December hits, I don't have to give a shit about my background. But for you two, when December hits, you are going to have a tree up behind you for streams. You're going to have to make the effort of making a really good tree. In fact, we almost expect both of you to have a large tree with a whole bunch of miniatures dangling from it. I say we all expect this. This is exclusively me. I weigh as much as 10,773 Jaffa Cakes. That sounds like a lot of Jaffa Cakes, but Jaffa Cakes are quite light. So, might not be as big as you might think. But, yeah, I was mentioning Taskmaster. Alex Horn often uses weird and wonderful measurements. The latest, I think he was measuring things in double-deckers for distance. And then I think he also measured a couple of things in Shaquille O'Neal's, and which brought about the phrase. So it's just over Shaq, Shaq in a hat. So, and that was just a wonderful phrase. The phrase Shaq in a hat. It's as big as Shaq in a hat. I've already started planning my Christmas stream lights. Wow. You've come down to the dark side of streaming, contemplating your Christmas stream lights. How far you have fallen. And you bought 2 new hats. I'm assuming, is that an elf hat and a Santa hat? But here we have the shark wall. As I say, I don't quite know. I might be missing something obvious. Obviously the Shah part comes from shark. But the quall part, I'm not entirely sure. But an aquatic mirage with a short temper that regularly attacks swimmers plans to one day star in its own movie, Chomper 2, The Shark Wall. There is no part 1. Unless, I mean, obviously the joke there is that it's the sequel, The Shark Wall, but I don't think that's necessarily where the name comes from, but I might be wrong. I wonder how many biscuits tall I am. It depends very much on the biscuit. Oh, a Christmas pudding hat and a stupid one with bells. Nice. Right, so I feel like we need to name this Mirage. And I am tempted to just name it super simple. Which is probably what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to name it Jaws. Because, you know, it's a shark. Also slightly tempted. Yeah, look, it looks good. It's a very cool design. I like it as a design. So what do we feel we might want to get rid of in favour of this? Oh, Mel. Melly Mel, Mel, Mel. Melly Mel, Melly Mel, 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 Melly Mel. Sorry, Mel, but I just don't recognise what you are or who you are, and you're not quite as cool as a shark in a jet ring. So, sorry to break it to you. I realise it comes as a bit of a surprise that you're not as cool as a shark in a jet ring, but, you know, sometimes you're just not as cool as a shark in a jet ring. What we might do is put death. Death comes for you. Death is standing on my head. Oh, shall we just have double death? So we've got death and death. Death Skull, Death Kupo, death to all. Which is quite fun. What now? I might just use the LAN giant stack for a little bit. Have a bit of fun with that. Now, so theoretically that button I think we pushed has allowed us access to something. Whoops. I thought Blue Bush had found something, but he was just caught in a corner. He was confused. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's allowed us access to over here, which is unfortunate in some fashion because... Yes. Yeah, I think what I wanted to do was leave that button, go down, find that treasure chest, and then activate that button. Not the most optimal of situations, but never mind. So what we've got here, Wind Rhapsody, Hypnosis and Blizzard. Interesting. Libra and Imprism. And... Wow, okay. Where the fuck does Helldiver come from? I've literally no fucking clue, but we're using Helldiver. Pow pow! It was quite bland in fairness, wasn't it? Slightly less impactful than I was hoping for, really. I thought it was going to be something really quite whoa, but it was just I had a little jump and I pushed the wrong button. Marvellous. And you missed. What a bitchy, what a bitchy bitch. How many bitches would a bitch bitch if a bitch could bitch bitches? I do not know, but it's probably quite a high number, because there's quite a lot of bitching to be done. Oh, there we go, I've now been sticky gooed. Sticky goo! I've put my sticky goo all upon you. I don't like it, no sir, I do not like it when you stick your sticky goo upon my face. No, I do not like it when you stick your sticky goo. Keep your sticky goo to yourself. Keep your sticky goo, keep it to yourself. Let's go. Wee! Poof! Pow! Bang! It's a poof, pow, bang cannon. Right, so theoretically at least, we can probably use exactly the same combo as we used last time, which I believe was, yeah, it was zapped must paint. How am I going to paint? I don't know. Simply when you're electrocuted. You are 247 McVitie's chocolate biscuits tall. Wow. That seemed to take quite a length of time. So that's kind of impressive that you put the effort in. You put the effort into working out how many biscuits tall you are. But by McVitie's chocolate biscuits, what are you actually sort of meaning? Is that sort of a variation of the digestive biscuit? Or is that more of a sort of chocolate bar-y type biscuit? I'm assuming you perhaps mean they are just called McVitie's chocolate biscuits. I just don't recognise exactly what that name entails. Channel ice element ice. Channel ice element ice. Yes, no, it's not exactly what I meant, but channel element ice. The ice comes from death, I think, mostly. The Kupo is non-elemental, if I had to guess. Technically, I don't need to guess. I couldn't find the measurement of a biscuit online, so I had to measure one. Impressive dedication. Impressive dedication. Oh, did we kill one? No, we couldn't have killed one. No, I was going to say he's still got a flan on his head. They're a digestive sort of variation. Yeah, McVitie's version of digestives, that's fine. But I've got it in my brain now as to what they look like. Diddly-doo. Keep on twatting things, sir, with your gauntlet hands, sir. Although, once again, because Death Skull is quite a low level, and he looks very precarious on top of my head. That's why I really do actually quite like, as you know, I said I wasn't necessarily attached. It would be a shame to get rid of Can't Sleep and Must Paint, but I'm not I'm not above it. But it does make for a really good-looking stack, because you've got the tiny Mew on top of the floating eyeball, which feels like it stacks really nicely visually, because it doesn't rely on Rain having a thing on her head. Whereas Lan's one, with that Death Skull, it just looks really precarious, because it feels like it shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be on his head like that. Especially because it's got like spindly legs that are right at the back of his head. So it doesn't quite look like it would be able to actually stand on his head.
Let's begin.
But it also doesn't look like it's floating. So it's a bit of a shit-looking thing. Whereas the Eyeball and Mew, they really feel like they sit well together, and then they're not on Rain's head, which again feels like it sits quite nicely. Stop sticky gooing me! Well, actually, sticky goo isn't too bad, although it's clearly done some kind of ailment, but I don't recognise what that ailment is. I'm assuming it's a stat drop. I couldn't tell you what that stat drop is, which is inconvenient, because I kind of need to know. Nope. I do not have that information available. The game has not made what that ailment is clear. I mean, I would like to capture this thing, but where I was facing them in the challenge cube, they did not want to go in the fucking prison, so that was a problem. And also, that's a problem. That's a bigger problem. That's a huge problem. Cool, thank you, game. Thank you for being the most obnoxious nuisance that you could be. Because, God forbid, I didn't want to stack anyway. Oh, for fuck's sake! You really are starting to grind my gears with these slimy fuckers. Because this is the fight I lost last week. Granted, there was 2 more of them last week, but it is nonetheless sticky fucking goo creatures. Oh, for fuck's sake. Absolute arseholes. 110% of assholes said they know they're assholes, but there you go. I'm gonna try taking that flan out. Nope. Bollocks. Big bollocks. Little bollocks, big bollocks, heavy bollocks, light bollocks, all the bollocks in the world. The bollocks are coming for you. If you didn't want them to, then you would have to stop them at the door. Well, that's certainly something. Okay, so it's weak and imprisonable. So come on game, do the right thing. We'll defend with that stack and try and imprison with the other stack, because unfortunately it is only the human characters, Rain and Lan, who can do imprisoning. So the fact that Lan is dead means I'm one imprisoning character short, which is a bit of an issue. But there you go. We'll just sort of we'll have the Death Skull and the Death Kupo just guard Lan's dead corpse. Oh, for fuck's sake, get in the fucking prism! You have got a problem, sir. And that problem is soon going to mean me getting bored and killing you. Yes, I have possibly given an insight into my mentality a little bit more than I'd intended. If you bore me, I kill you. So don't ever bore me. It's risky for the health. Yes. I think the fucking Death Kupo is going to go down. Which is a bloody nuisance. Come on. You are 6.11 light nanoseconds tall. Interesting. And how have you come to that conclusion? Because surely this feels like the Han Solo thing all over again. The whole parsecs aren't a unit of time; they're a unit of distance. This is a unit. Nanoseconds sounds suspiciously like a unit of time, not a unit of distance. So, are you intentionally doing a Han Solo, or rather a Star Wars, I suppose? A wobbly little pudding! What are you? You're a wobbly little pudding! A wobbly little pudding creature with a high capacity for physical pain. Cover its face with a napkin, toss a little caramel on it, and you have yourself an appetizing treat. The actual flavour, however, not so much. Do I get it? Did I get it, I suppose? Were you deliberately doing a Star Wars reference? But other than that, no, I don't particularly get it. If I'm not, if I'm supposed to be getting something specific, I don't understand. But still, I'll get the pudding. I've got the pudding. The pudding is mine. Shall we call him Pudding? We'll call him Pudding. Well, I say him. I mean, technically they're genderless. Especially these creatures. They are distinctly genderless. They are a mass of wibbly pudding. Wobbly pudding! I went to great lengths to get the pudding. So, we now have pudding. Non-oil. It's a little too late, I'm afraid. But I think we'll leave the pudding behind. We don't need the pudding on hand for now. But we do now have pudding. Which I'm sure will go nicely with your... Might be quite good. It'll match the unpleasantness of your chicken dinner. Because the pudding seemed to taste disgusting as well. They suggested that the pudding tastes disgusting. Which might mean... I mean, it's just... I'm suggesting you have a horrible dinner all round. Because even the pudding can't actually sort of rescue the situation. Which is usually what happens. Douche! Raise the waters! Raise them up now! Firing the cannon! Whoosh! Woo! What's interesting is, of course, Lan doesn't get to shoot himself in a cannon because he just appears the other side. Which almost seems unfair. In some fashion. Do do do. Bop. Oh, round the corner, please. Round the corner. Oh, that's the crucial thing. Blooby? Bloob? No. I thought maybe those barrels would be a suspicious item that would have some significance, but Blue Bush seemed to not care. If you've forgotten and you were wondering, the little chocobo chick is called Blue Bush. Just in case people were wondering or confused. But he finds things. Okay, oh shit, I forgot to heal Lan. So he is extremely low in his health bar, which should be fixable with a little cure. It's still quite a low health bar in fairness, but still. Blizzard, I can't imagine they're weak to Blizzard, although having said that, well, that's probably better to do against the other one. Actually no, they are both got resistances to Blizzard, so let's not do Blizzard. Let's do Wind Rhapsody. Because if memory serves, Wind Rhapsody is A, not Blizzard, it's wind damage, and B, it is magical damage, which is beneficial for going against Flans. Although that is inconvenient, because he is taking a fucking beating. That's not what you want to see in your life. Cure the boy again. It seems he's gonna need basically permacure, which is unfortunate. Yes, indeed. Hey! Triple kill.
Good job.
Death Kupo wins. You look at him and you think he's just a little cute critter, but no. He is the arbiter of your death. Kupo. Oh, strength plus seeds. That might be quite useful. Well, I think they are one-use deals, so... Me and items again, I'm afraid. It's a one-use item. I don't want to use it. Don't make me use the one-use item. And therefore I'll never get the benefit. It is an inconvenient habit I have formed. Well, Wind Rhapsody seemed to work rather well last time, so let's Wind Rhapsody it up again. Although it is, I think it's random targets, which does make it slightly awkward. I mean, to a certain extent, I feel like she should be curing again. We'll hope for the best for the next Wind Rhapsody. Can we get going quicker than the sharks? It almost looks like it. I do have a turbo button available if I so choose to use it. I can't deny it. I don't often. I like to sort of, I don't know, sit back. Although having said that, I'm sitting forward at the moment, but that's not 100% the point of the sentence. It's not a literal sitting back, but it is sort of like sit back, relax, enjoy a sense of relaxation with a good video game. You don't always have to turbo button everything. It's about the journey, not the destination, and other things that are always said. Right, have we done any damage to you? Yes, we have. So we'll carry on punching. Carry on punching, because when you're punching, you know that you're winning at this game. You weigh 0.869 CSMPs. Wow, that is some mathematics. No, I think we'll just try and kill it with a standard attack. Seems to be the best idea. But it is mildly amusing. We seem to have got locked in a sort of measuring ourselves in strange metrics. Again, referencing Taskmaster, there was a fantastic, it was an absolutely fantastic game they did on the series with Tim Vine. And basically it was the ultimate question: how long is a piece of string? But the piece of string sort of stretched through the house, round the garden, all over the place. It was a very lengthy piece of string. And Tim Vine grabbed a lobster from the caravan and started winding the string round the lobster. And so at the end of it, he came out with, okay, then it's 100, and I can't remember the exact number, so this isn't a direct quote, but it's something like, 629 lobsters. And then it's like, how long's... but that's not a measurement. How long's the lobster then, Tim? But they did laugh, because he'd basically created a brand new sort of measurement. And the other thing I think he also mentioned, which I don't know whether was something he'd had in his brain since he did the task, or whether it was something very, very quick. But he said about, because for anybody unaware, you do need this information to find it amusing, I imagine. But the old pounds, if you do note, the symbol for pounds is LB. So you wouldn't have to change anything with the joke, because LB could stand for lobsters as well. Level 25? No, thank you. Will you please give me something reasonable? Ideally, something like level 1. That would be a fight I would actually choose to do. But until you give me something like that, I'm not interested. I just want easy street. How many Hulkbusters tall are you? Now the problem is you're going to go off and try and find that now, aren't you? But, plus you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to measure it in the canonical height of a Hulkbuster from the movies, or are you going to measure it in the height that the Hulkbuster miniature figure comes in on? Yeah, or are you going to do both, I suppose? Wouldn't surprise me if we're going to do both. But we're going to be putting the game away in a moment or two, so you probably don't have time for either. Ring the bell again? Oh, of course, they were suggesting, yeah, there might be something where if I can ring those chimes in the correct order. But at the moment I don't really have a clue as to the correct order, so slightly awkward. Flutter! Flutter lets you fly to places you normally can't reach. Don't know what that accent turned into, but it was weird. Look for places marked with the flutter icon. Sadly, you can't fly forever. You can only use flutter to take you short distances. You may be wondering why Tama, of all mirages, doesn't have this ability. Well, Tama may be able to float around free as a bird, but she refuses to carry Lan. After all, it's his job to carry her. But here we go. This might actually be quite a good reason. I don't know which one. Oh, there we go. It is. That's going to be a very good reason to keep Must Paint around. We may have to remove Can't Sleep, but we can at least keep Must Paint because it's got the utility of flight. 2 Phoenix Downs. Nice. Whee! Come, Must Paint. Fly me to my destination. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Did I just accidentally? We keep interrupting her, I fear. And we've been back attacked. Holy balls! It's the bigger version of Must Paint. It's the big nasty granddaddy of Must Paint. He's come to lick your eyeballs and remove your spleen from inside your kidneys. You may be wondering, why is your spleen in your kidneys? Nobody knows. Oh, we'll use cross slash. I haven't got any high capacity wobblers. I don't have a high capacity wobbler. Do we have any better wobblers than Punch? I don't think we do, truth be told. No, we've only really got Punch or the Darkness. We can only punch your darkness. That's what I need to do as well. We'll try and get a Libra in while we're faffing around here trying to break the stack down so that we can find out more. I believe this is going to be the Araman. I was about to say it. It skipped in there fast. I do believe one of the monsters on the lower bar is an Araman. I might be mistaken. I've got a feeling it's a Flan, an Araman, a Bomb, and a Marlboro. I can never seem to remember that last one. But unfortunately, the the Araman in that overlay has been defeated at this point, so I can't fully point it out. Mini-Flan, the Floating Eye, and then the Araman. So I'd need to inflict blindness. I don't think I can. I feel like I used my blindness one, but also I need to break the stack as well, so I may kill it before I manage to break the stack, which would be in some fashion inconvenient, but also, I mean, to a certain extent actually, because I'm fairly certain the Floating Eye is a variation of the Araman. It's not going to make that much difference. I'll still try and break the stack because I think it might be useful, but in terms of actual full-on necessity, I don't think it's quite as pressing as I've made it out to be. It'll make the fight easier, but I don't necessarily feel like I desperately need to capture the Araman. Although, I might try and do so anyway. If I've got something that can inflict blind, of course. Which I don't think I do. Not natively, certainly. I think I used the blind item. War Gong, Berserk, Confusion, Poison. Yeah, I think one of the first things I did earlier on today was use the blindness thing that I had access to. Nice. Well, that removed the Floating Eye, and now hopefully that might. No, it did. Marvellous. It's just Flans have a high physical defense because they're supposed to be wobbly pudding. Wibbly wobbly pudding, wibbly wobbling at you. Fear the pudding, it's wibbling towards you. Mew dance. Do 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 do. But there we go. You may have just witnessed your destiny.
Accidentally come up with a haiku? And who says boy oh boy?
I mean, people say boy oh boy, I'm sure. Right, let's try and figure out where we want to go. So I think that's the... this is the brain going... This is just the cannon back the way I came. But this is also the brain going... You have to make certain. Yeah, it is. And yes, at some point I think I do have to ding these bells in the correct order. But as I say, I don't think that dialogue gave me a clue as to how to do that, so I think we have to wait and see. But equally, we also have to find this thing. What do you want? What do you want? A swirl shell. Oh, we have a swirl shell. Oh, that's handy. I'm assuming maybe Blue Boosh. That may have been the item Blue Boosh found earlier on. I can't spot any context clues as to the bells. Whether that's one of those things where they're there but I can't see them, or whether they're not there, I do not know. Let's have a quick look in here. So Floating Eye Prism, Water Seed and Strength Seed. Not a problemo. But here we go, Must Paint. There we go, yes. Your destiny. Must Paint's destiny lies in being enormous. Which I'll possibly try and do at some point. I don't know for certain. It's quite convenient him being medium at the moment, but then I don't have a secondary large, so at some point having a large Must Paint might be quite useful. Probably continue having a tiny Can't Sleep though, because otherwise they can't be together. I can only have I can only have a medium and a small, or a small and a large. There are no options in between, because Lan and Rain have to be part of the party. You do not have any choice in that, which, I don't know. I mean, they are the protagonists, so you kind of go, they do have to be in the game, you know that, don't you? But then there's a part of me thinking, well, would be nice to have all monsters sometimes. Could be nice as an option. It wouldn't necessarily be something you'd want all every single time, but still. They do sometimes get in the way of really cool, iconic monsters that you really want to use. Do-do-do-do. A water spout. Oh no. Down came the water and flushed the spider out. Just attack it, because I think it's taken a bit of a beating. Yes, there you go, it has. Took a bit of a beating early doors with the old Wind Rhapsody. I was going to make a Captain Scarlet reference earlier when I mentioned Rhapsody as well, because she was a angel. Were they just called angels? I think so. The ones who flew the jet fighter planes. They were all named after musical doodads. So you had Rhapsody, Harmony, Others, E. Yes, Others E. That's about the level of your intelligence, I know. Looks like oh, hello.
I'm really starting to get sick of all this cold.
Is it cold?
Maybe you should have thought of that before you came up with
I mean,
this
we're
plan.
bursting out of a cannon. You'd think that'd warm us up.
Juan, nobody ever said anything about having to fight past all these stupid mirages. Oh, well, I did read that cold weather helps keep you focused, so I guess it's not all that bad.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, Serona is covered in ice, in
Shivering
fairness,
uses
isn't it?
less energy than it.
Oh man, do I just love the cold.
Genuinely slightly confused as to
No time like the present.
why he felt cold, but yeah, the whole place is covered in ice. You can see it in the background. Shows how much attention I've been paying to my... Oh, bloody mimic. Bloody mimic.
Where did you come from?
What the hell?
It was in the treasure chest. That's the definition of a mimic, you daft woman. I was going to be a lot more insulting there. Probably lucky I wasn't, because otherwise the death might have been karma for being an arsehole. What sort of... Do you have any weak? No. Okay, that's fine. Just punch it. Punch it in the dick. Interestingly enough, that was a joke. Not the punch it in the dick part. That was a joke in the Guardians of the Galaxy game earlier. I was playing earlier. Can't remember who said it originally, but someone tells Quill to punch it, and Drax says physical violence will not help in this situation. Something along those lines anyway. I've given you the gist of the joke. I may not have given you the exact wording. But yeah, it was quite amusing. So far, seems to be quite a good game. Quite an entertaining gameplay loop they've got going. Decent controls. Nice special abilities. Well put together characters. So far so good in the fun stakes. We shall have to wait and see if it develops into horse shit. But I suspect it. I suspect it probably will, and it won't. It will develop into horse shit in the sense it will irritate me at some point because it will be hard. But it will equally be very good because it will maintain being decent. I'm going to hope for the best with the stack wibbling, although I haven't said that. It's got 475 left. Plus we've managed to unwibble ourselves, so that's not too bad. I think you can remove the whole wobble from your stack by using an item, but I don't know. Sometimes it's easier because there's a chance it won't. Okay, there we go. As there is a chance it won't wibble over, it's sometimes worthwhile taking the chance, but I'm not going to lie. I take the chance that it's not going to fall down, and then I will swear when it does fall down. It is simply destiny that you take the chance that it won't fall down, and then it naturally falls down, and you swear at it for falling down because fuck you. Why did you fall down? Besides the obvious fact that you knew it was going to fall down and actively chose not to do anything about it falling down, which is very silly. If this is another pissing mimic, I'm going to be fucking furious. No, it's 3 potions, not so bad. Come, Must Paint, fly me to the bridge and let me play among the switch. Bitch. So this is the same principle as last time, so we just want to pop, zapped, and Must Paint upon the thing where we can activate the bouton or activate the futons if you were particularly posh. There we go, it's gone on. I am hoping to get to that save point in the not too distant future. I do sort of want to put it away in a moment or two. We have pretty much reached our time frame, and so I want to sort of pop her away, but I think I need to find whatever item that little gimme golem's going to want, which is what I'm having to wander around here. That's back to the entrance, isn't it? Hey! Such a violent... I know I keep mentioning it, but it's worth mentioning how violent the battle initiation is. So surprising every time it happens. Go after the lizard with you, see how far you get, not too bad. And then hope Wind Rhapsody, ideally. I mean, if all of them went on one shark, that would be absolutely majestic, but that is unlikely. One of those unlikely things, yes indeed. We shall have a look, see what we can accomplish. Well, it feels like, what are the odds that it will hit one of those lizards? I don't know, but... Oh, okay, you've just insta-killed a lizard. Well, that'll do nicely. But hopefully, if Wind Rhapsody does a little bit on all three, that might kill him. It did not. Disappointing. Disappointing. But the next strike should kill this little lizard. I believe that's the dual lizard, isn't it? Yeah. We've already got a dual lizard. That's the one I named Eddie. Eddie the dual lizard. What's a lovely thing to do? Yes, it is a lovely thing indeed. Ooh. Right, item. This is probably what the Gimme Golem wants. Swell Shell, yeah. That seems most likely. Which means, theoretically, I'm going to want to activate the switch, I believe. So I'm going to hop over back here. Boof! Right in the cannons. Right in the cannon. Bang! And the dirt is gone. Well, it's going to be. And bang, the water is gone. Get zapped. Interesting enough, there probably is other combos that I could use, but the fact that I know zapped and must paint do the job, it seems daft not to just to keep using that combo. It's only when they do a new version of the Switch that I will require a certain amount of effort to piece together what the new requirements are. But if you know what the requirements are going to be and how to fix them, it seems reasonable enough to just go for the easy option. Doom, doom, ding, ding, dong. Oh, there's a flan upon its head. I don't know how. I can probably just punch it with you, and yeah, probably Wind Rhapsody with you is the easiest and best way. Because although having said that, yeah, I had a nasty feeling that the dual lizards might bring about a certain level of resistance. I must admit, I didn't know it was going to be full resistance. I thought it was going to be maybe just blocking the idea of having a weakness to magic, not a full-blown resistance to wind. So punching is still a viable option, but punching is going to take a bit of time. So I think it is. I think the flan is bringing a weakness to magic and a strength against physical. Which, but the bloody dual lizard, of course, is bringing a resistance to wind. So fire is optimal, but I don't think I've got any fire. Blizzard might suffice. So let's try Blizzard. Yes, not a bad amount. Oh, it killed it, so yeah, definitely not a bad amount of damage. And now another cure, because we are running low on health. Cure is unfortunately just not a very effective spell in this game. I suppose I need Cura, which means I need to stack more cures into the stack, I think. I think the only one with Cure at the moment... I'm not entirely sure. I should have used Blizzard. I was stupid. I was being stupid. You stupid boy. I neglected to use Blizzard because I got my people confused. But yeah, if I can get possibly Mew and the Floating Eye, if I can get the pair of them to have Cure, I might be able to get the upgraded Cura/Curaga. Potentially. That would be the desire, but I cannot guarantee this. It is not something. I suppose we could just move forward a bit quicker. As I say, habitually I am slow at things. I just like to take my time and let these things go at their own pace. Oh yes, indeed. That's a lot of sixes in my wallet. That's a whole lot of sixes in my wallet. Fish scales and lightning marbles. Hey, you want to lightning my balls? I bet you do. I want to check something. So, okay, so it's the eyeball that has cure. So it wouldn't be terrible for Rain to have cure, but I'd need an item for that. And let's check in with our little friend Can't Sleep. See if you... Do you natively get cure? No. But there is a blank space there, so I might be able to stack a cure in there, which might work nicely. But unfortunately I've run out of SP, so not only can I not do it immediately, I'm going to have to remember for next time, which is notoriously an issue.
Yeah, I don't think there's any debate about that.
I do wonder if we're going to recognise this part, this pirate. I can never quite remember. It's been a while since I played the game, so what's quite nice in a way, sometimes that's the benefit of having a really shit memory, is you can't remember every detail of something, so some things can surprise you again in a way. But yeah, we're not going to find out this week, because that's going to be something to save for next time on SaturJay RPG, where we'll be doing more World of Final Fantasy. Now I'm just going to double save that just in case, you know. Sometimes you just get a little bit paranoid and you go, fuck it, I need another save, please. Let me have another save. I just need to make sure. Just need all the saves. We're going to get another bonus.
World of Final Fantasy.
World of Final Fantasy. I didn't recognise who that was. The voice didn't leap out at me in some fashion. Let's see. What is that? I don't know. Let's see. Is this an important thing? Well, everything's important in its own little way, but sometimes it's more important if it's something pertinent. But that was not something. It was not something pertinent. Anyway, that is all of the things, and I must admit we'll probably... no, we'll probably leave the raid this week, methinks. Twitch hasn't loaded properly, so I couldn't actually see anything. So, always difficult. There's a man in a fez driving a Jurassic Park car on the front page. So, that's something. Anyway, let's do tonight. You could have yourself a real good time if you go down to this place. Just a bit slow. I'll need to remember that.
Someone went out into a field or into a stable, and they're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna gather up me some horse shit. And so what he did was he didn't put on any gloves because he's a horrible, disgusting human being. And he was just like, right, just scooping all this horse shit into his hands. He was like, yeah, get all the horse shit in the room. And the horses were looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Horse impression. Anyway, he's gathering up all the shit and he's piling it together and he's like, yeah, this is great. Right, now for my masterpiece. So he starts squidging it down. He's like, just pushing on it, and it's resistant because it's a couple of days old now, so it's getting a bit crusty and flaky. So it doesn't really want to squish down properly. But he gives, bless him, he gives it his all. He uses all of his fucking Zeus-given strength. And he's like, and the horse shit compresses down into a video game. And that video game is Cry of Fear, and he's like, perfect.
And that was the description of Cry of Fear. I don't think the developer would necessarily appreciate that description of Cry of Fear, but from what I saw of Cry of Fear, it's actually quite an accurate one. But a Turk that likes Jurassic Park, unheard of. In fairness, I cannot guarantee he was a Turk. He just simply was wearing a fez. Of course, if tomorrow you require entertainment, I think Malice is playing a new game this evening, but I might be mistaken. Yeah, he finished off Little Nightmares last week, so yeah, it'll be a new game. Or it'll be more Pokemon trading card game as filler until he figures out a new game. But you'd have to tune in to find out. But tomorrow, I believe, corrections are available if needed, but I'm fairly certain tomorrow at 9 o'clock if you need it. Although I grant it, technically I'm preaching to the choir here, but still. Mr. Carnseed must paint 9 o'clock
lime and
tomorrow.
menthol, and here we go. It's instant. And then you open your mouth and it gets worse. Oh my God.
I missed precisely what Lady Slothington said there, but I do sort of hope that when you said, it gets worse when you open your mouth, I do hope she just sort of looked at you and said, well, shut your mouth then. Possibly with the added, you slag. Somehow I love those sweets, I see. What sweets were they? I'm mildly curious. I missed precisely, I don't know if the clip specifies or you probably did at the time. But yeah, I'm curious, what sweets are they? Are they sort of like a hot sweet or a sour sweet? I wasn't able to tell precisely. Just turning the controller off. There we go. That's the controller turned off. I'm just sort of waiting on a reply. There we go. Can't remember the name, but they're menthol and sour. Okay, so it was sour that was the problem. Well, I suppose arguably menthol and sour together is probably the key problem, because the pair are going to do, well, I suppose they're going to do that to a person's mouth. As was what happened to you right there. Anyway, that is all our doings for this evening. So I will say cheerio, and then I will give it a few seconds, and then I'll turn the stream off. And then I'll figure out my own dinner. So here goes. Get ready. Cheerio.